This is like the Christmas Lion King. It's an interesting one. Playlist, you get one more chance. Okay, yeah, no. Why is there a playlist with 0 tracks? Piano's gonna make me sleepy. But I guess that's okay. Maybe it will. Piano is relaxing. Oh, speaking of relaxing, I need to turn the bird TV back on. It was annoying me a little bit. Nobody's nerfect. Do. We are connected. Woot! Restream always takes longer to connect to Kick than Twitch, and I don't understand. Why? Serena spam incoming! Welcome to the holidays! There's Miss Charlie Bear. And the Stream the Dreams Project. There's Flying Diesel. There's Flying Diesel. And I do still have some deals up on Twitter. Actually, I'm gonna edit Voya's little thing because he's not in the hospital anymore. It's misleading. And pull us out of purgatory though. I guess. I could. Oh, Botrix was the other thing I had pinned on my main browser page. I couldn't remember what, so I just pinned Dropbox because I'm using that a lot right now. Well, let's update your stuff. No, we have enough commands. While I am doing this, don't forget to vote for your fave cosplayer in the AVN Awards. You can vote 5 times a day for free, and no more than that for any amount of monies. Wyatt is currently recovering from an ER vet stay. Vet bills were big, so A, tip would be appreciated, or check my Twitter for content deals to raise funds. Perfect. Noel. Is that what this one is? I think. Why is this side of this in alphabetical order? The other part isn't. Commands are alphabetical order. The timer for them is not. Maybe that's chronological order. Timers are chronological. I guess that makes sense. Bean machine fun stuff. Okay, let's finish getting ready for the evening, and in some order of operations, we're going to decorate the tree in here. We're going to someone found fireworks in their garage. Decorate the tree in here, and then decorate in Tank's room and bake in all of that order. I don't know. We're gonna make some cookies tonight. Not kolachkis yet. I think we're gonna save kolachkis and pierogis for Christmas and Christmas Eve. probably pierogies Christmas Eve, and then kolaczki's Christmas Day. Where's my coffee? I did bring up some Christmas decorations today, and I think I'm satisfied with how I want to disperse it everywhere. We're gonna put up a big tree in the doggy room. We're gonna put up a tree for Mama Void, and by extension, the foster kittens. And then Tank gets a tree, because he's a special boy. I think he can be trusted with a tree this year. We'll see. I redid his bedroom too. It's so cute. I cope by moving furniture. And I coped today. It's gonna be so cute. And it's way easier to get to an outlet that I need. That's part of the motivation. An outlet that I need for the tree lights. Assuming I want to put it there. I hope I want to put it there because there's not an outlet on the other side. But he has a double-decker bed again. And I put out Pippi's staircase that she never ended up using because she's blind and she's just not figuring it out. But Tank figured it out right away because he's a smart man. And I lured him with treats. Pippi doesn't make the connection from treats to repeats. Bless her heart. Boy, are you feeling good today? Oh, we got new cones for Voya and a new little water fountain for the boys too. I think Zeke will be into that. Oh, Gunther was so naughty earlier. He knocked over Voya's bowl and it went everywhere. Everywhere. Including on something that I found and I pulled out. Actually, I wanted to grab a hole punch too. Oh, there's a monitor there, Serena. Don't knock that over. That's one way to break things. Bring TV back. There. Why did you mute? No, I'm the cat. It spilled on something else, though. I think there's a hole punch. No, that's for grommets. It's an industrial hole punch. It's for doing grommets and like pants and things. My grandpa has so much random shit. Welcome, Cyogenics. Gunther is very cat, maybe the most cat. Well, we were just saying the other day that he's like one of the best boys in the house, you know? And he was big naughty today. Gunther has never been that naughty in the time that I have known him. Not proud of that choice. I know I have a hole punch. Where's my hole punch? Okay, maybe I don't. I thought I did. I have two quandaries for nerdy men of the world. Or questions, rather. I have questions. I also have a really big magnifying glass. Giggity. I do not know where my hole punch is. It might be... Oh my god, close. You're obnoxious. You're my mess. It might be in the thing up there. I have a really big magnifying glass. All the better to see you all with. Oh, that's creepy. That would be like a cool stream toggle though. I don't know. I haven't had enough coffee yet. Boo. I'm leaving that out. Hopefully I won't drop it. Is it? I didn't mean to go on a mission right now, but now I'm on a mission. Ah! I had a bowl of oatmeal earlier and I just dropped it. Okay, I give up. It's somewhere. I don't know where it lives right now, and that's okay. We'll figure it out at some point. He wants coal, or whatever the cat equivalent for coal is. Cucumber. My vet actually has coal treats right now that I was threatening Diesel that I was gonna get for him. And Chauncey too. He's being a gross little boy. He's eating his own version of coal, and it's nasty. They have lump of coal treats. Does anyone know what this is? I feel like this is something I should try using Google Lens with, and God, yes, I need to fix my scuffed ass nails. This doesn't seem to have a spring mechanism. I don't really understand what it does, and I don't want to manipulate it too hard because then it will break. I feel like it's a stamping machine, but I think that's wrong. It doesn't have a plug, like it's not a pedal for something. I wonder what it could be. A blade sharpener. You know what? That makes sense. I was thinking a stamper, like this was a dried out sponge, but this is possibly like some kind of sandpaper. It has grit to it. I don't think I'll be trying it without supervision, but I think you're onto something there. Okay, next quiz. I forgot about this, and it's a printing calculator, but I want to be able to like make my own little silly receipts with it. I've wanted to for a long time, and I keep forgetting that it exists. Oh, that's cool. Those stickers used to be on the back of everything, like emergency contacts. The inside is corroded. Is there a safe way to clean the green that's on there, like the corrosion, or is it just cooked? And like the foam on the inside is gross too, but I don't think that matters very much. I could probably just get rid of that and put like a little soft pad. But is it possible to salvage those springs? Because you could probably replace them. Oh, but they attach down to things. It's not just like a freestanding spring. Some steel wool or a steel brush. Nice! I have like a tiny little scrubby cleaning kit that's almost like my eyebrow brush. And something like that would probably work perfect. Oh, yes! I'm so glad it can be salvaged. It's such a neat little thing. It's such a neat little thing. I like it. It makes me happy. It's probably from when the batteries exploded in ages ago. I used it once right after my grandpa passed. Like, I was playing with everything while I was unpacking it, and I printed one tiny receipt, and that was the last it did. And then I took the bad batteries out of it. Oh, it does! There is a DC plug. I have a DC plug right here. For the monitor. I don't think that's the right size. Oh no. Oh no, it's stuck. Okay, we're not gonna force it in there. I have many of those though. We shall try. I have older ones too. That's awesome! Okay, how do I plug this back in here? There's too much stuff everywhere. Ah! Ah! Happy Catterday, everybody. Happy Catterday! I will give up on royalty-free music at some point tonight, but I'm not ready to yet. I'm not there yet. Yay! We've solved situations today. That's 2 out of 3, and that's pretty good odds. Thank you, Club Colt. I salute your service. I salute your service. You're wonderful. You're wonderful. Okay, this is either like the longest version of this track ever, or it's just overplaying. Yeah. There's doubles on here. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. If different voltages may be written near the receptacle, you can do some quick math based on how many batteries there are. I probably can't do that math, but I probably can look up the make and model number and probably find someone still selling the same version on eBay and then try and match up the voltage from there. Because I think I've kept every cord that I've ever had. Like my first digital camera from 8th grade, I still have. It doesn't work anymore. I still have the cords for. Like, in my mind, no tech is ever useless. And I blame my dad for that because he still has all of his floppy drives. Like, what do they get used for? Absolutely nothing. But they're there just in case you need them. That's how I am about cords and inputs and different little bitty things. You never know when you need something from something. And it's a stupid, obscure thing. YouTube, don't fail me now. Christmas music, no copyright. Are you a playlist? Okay. The Christmas spirit. When the digital world ends, I'll be happy to have those drives. I mean, I guess. He's saving them for the apocalypse. Probably still has, like, Windows 93? I think there's Windows 93, 95, 98, etc. backups. Welcome, William. Hope you're having a wonderful night so far. Merry Tankmas, everyone! We're gonna do a little in here and a little in the kitchen, and we're gonna decorate Tank's room tonight. Oopsies for ya. Here, let's change your donut. Baby. He's being a stooge. He's doing this on purpose. No, we never used AOL, surprisingly. I got hollered at one time because I put the free trial discs that you used to get into the computer and installed it. But then I didn't know what I was doing with it because I was probably like 6 or 7. And yeah. No AOL, but I had my AIM. Here, let's try a new thing for your head. Then we have observational time. Merry Tankmas to all, and to all a good bite. He bit me earlier. Like, pretty decent. It's like the tiniest little spot bruise. But that's because I was an asshole, and when I was rearranging his room, I stepped on his tail. Like, not hard, but it went underneath, like, the curve of my foot. The arch. The curve. The arch. Just throwing a verbal curveball. And he did not like that. That's the avocado and the bread loaf. Hi, Zeke. Oh, that's a big-ass donut. Okay, Voya's neck size is size large, but, like, this is, like, Pippi-sized. And I thought this one would be the best choice, too. God damn it. They don't sell these things in store. Otherwise, I would have bought them in store. I know it's stupid to try and size things on the internet, but... It's okay. I've seen what makes him cheer. His bites mean nothing to me anymore. I don't take it personally. Like, when he's biting me, it's usually for a good reason. I've done something to upset him. So, Voya thinks this is treats. We're gonna let these reinflate themselves, and then we're gonna try the donut. Maybe it's not as stupid as I think it is. Oh, maybe the bread loaf will be good. Or you can go your OG method and be an avocado with Tank again. It's definitely an avocado. It was listed as an avocado, but this one has same side colors. So Tank's is both, it's a reversible. You can be an avocado or you can be a pear. You can be whatever you want to be in life. You can be whatever you want to be when you grow up. You want to be a pear? You want to be an avocado? Baby, you can do it all. do 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 do. This is like nursery music. Let's try the donut first. And we'll see how he gets used to it while I finish getting ready. Marbles decided to be... I've told you guys Marbles is the fire marshal, right? Like, she meows if there's something overcooking or, like, on fire. She does it especially when I'm doing mushrooms because I burn them. Because they're good when they're burnt. Like doing mushrooms on the stove. And she was mowing earlier for like a good 20 minutes. As soon as I would walk away, she would start it up again. But I couldn't find anything that was going wrong. So if the house is on fire right now, it's beyond my control. And she stopped mowing about it. Like a good 20 minutes. I was just sitting downstairs with her with the fire extinguisher, like, ready. But she mows when there's a candle burning for too long, or mushrooms being cooked, or like anything baking that like is a little burnt. She's so good about that. And I rely on her for this. She's my little tool that way. But I feel bad. I don't know what was upsetting her. I'm sure somewhere some sadist has cross-pollinated pear and avocado anyway. God, that would be a weird tasting thing. Like a juicy, sweet avocado. Well, toast tortillas like that, Marbles would be screaming her head off. She knew you were baking today. She's getting warmed up. I did clean the oven. I cleaned the stove too. Wait, where'd you go? Oh, he's under the desk. He doesn't want to be a part of this. Baby, can we try? Your other cone's dirty. It's dirty. It's dirty. Oh yeah. Can we try the donut? Do 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 do. We wish you a merry donut head. Don't think this is good. I think that's gonna be more annoying than not. I'll see how he feels about it. The main thing is he won't be able to eat out of his feeder with it on. I thought the donut would be... Like, the neck size only mattered, but, like, the pillow size would be the same. If it's wonky, then we'll do the bread loaf. Or the avocado, I don't know. Just gotta not let him lick his pee-pee. That's all that matters. Gunther, you just out here eating the rest of Voya's food, huh? This goes in the wash. It could be a tree skirt after it gets cleaned. That's cute. I don't really believe in tree skirts. I think they're a waste of time. It could be. But it's not. Dun, 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 dun. He's under the desk being hilarious with this. And take a couple of pictures just in case he doesn't want to keep it on when he gets up, because it's funny looking. It's cute. Oh, he totally just made the same face that my nephew used to make in pictures. Look how his eyebrows change. Voya version 1. Oh my goodness. I had avocado ice cream before. It's not repulsive, it's kind of a mild flavor. I've had avocado brownies before, and it's kind of like tofu. Like, you just have to match the texture to what it goes with and then supplement flavor from there, because avocados they have a taste, but like it's not a strong taste. It can be easily covered by other things. He is looking kind of grumpy in the donuts. He's like, Mom, fuck this shit. Sorry, buddy. It's awfully cute on you, though. We just gotta see if it's annoying or not. He gets more annoyed in the litter box when he has a cone that's bumping around, which is why I wanted to get the hard cone off of him. I don't know if that one will be just as annoying. We'll see. All we can do is try. Start calling him Homer. Boy, yeah. Alright, what are we doing? What do I want? I want to fix my eyebrows a little bit. They're like good friends today, but they're certainly not like cousins or even sisters. I don't know what they're doing tonight. I still haven't bought a new eyebrow pencil. I need to. I just keep forgetting. It's a little bit more matchy. Yeah, okay. I found the Tankmas tree from either last year or the year before too. I think last year because it was on the top of the boxes. I'm excited. I'm gonna put up a tree in Tank's room. We're gonna do the tree in here. Put up the little Tankmas tree in here. It's a little bitty guy. We got a tree in Tank's room. We'll do a tree in Puppy's room. Do a tree in Void's room. Trees everywhere. Then I have one more tiny tree somewhere. I can't find it. I don't know what I did with it. I might have gotten mad at it last year and like just trashed it because it was old. I know it was kind of falling apart, but if I can find it, we'll put that up in Monster's room or the main area of downstairs. There's too much terrain to fall out downstairs to do the... Too much terrain to fall out, not enough time to do the in front of the fireplace down there like I thought I wanted to. But the dogs are gonna get their own tree and hopefully they don't tinky on it, but they don't really mark on things, so I don't think it'll be a problem. They're good little Pooh Bears. I feel like Diesel would be the most likely culprit to do it. We'll just keep him away from it. Tell him Santa isn't gonna bring him any goodies if he gets into it. Just kidding. I just remark at like how many cone heads we have in the house right now. Diesel has the bubble on. Voya has a donut. Or a bread loaf. Or an avocado. Whatever we decide. It's kind of loud. Spooky Christmas music. This is like words. Hogwarts Christmas. That was hard to say. Babies and mom have cones on. Tank has his avocado on. Like, this is an eventuality that I did not ever prepare for. Like, we're handling it, but I just find it quite remarkable. Diesel is always ready to surprise. He's an interesting dog. He's an amazing dog. I love him so much, but he is an interesting little fella. He is. But we love him for that. He keeps us on our toes. I want to look into what kind of, like, more mental stimulation agility that we can work on that's not so much physical. When we first had him, I wanted to do drills and running around and going through things and around poles. And I wonder how we can adapt that for his little Forrest Gump legs now. Have him army crawl through tunnels. He doesn't know how to army crawl. Yo! Merry Tankmas. I hope the weekend's being kind to you so far. Merry Tankmas. Merry Tankmas. Merry Tankmas to you. We're gonna make my famous brownies tonight and some sugar cookies. And the sugar cookies are from a box mix. And we're not gonna laugh at me or yell at me for it. Because I've had them for too long. I just gotta use it. And they turn out nice too. They're good. Little confetti sugar cookies. We might try and shape them. Their hearts are like little gingerbread men. I don't know yet. Cookie cutters are challenging for me, and I don't know why. They never turn out nice. I don't know how people do them perfectly. I have a feeling it's just a casualty of like vegan baking. Things spread out okay in a circular sense, but it looks wonky spread out in a shaped sense. I've always made ugly gingerbread men. They're my cute little ugly gingerbread men though. A lot of casualties for vegan cooking. Yeah. I mean, cooking in itself is a science. And especially when you're not finding vegan specific recipes and you just substitute ingredients, things just aren't going to turn out exactly the same. Because that recipe was perfectly chemically curated, so to speak, to that ingredient subset. So replacing egg with applesauce or bananas, we're gonna do bananas tonight. Or just egg even. Just doesn't do it the same. I feel like bananas make it a lot better than applesauce though. But my birthday cake I did with just egg, and it turned out quite well. I was surprised. It was very fluffy. It was still a little bit shorter than it should have been, but it got a lot fluffier versus like not like a thick cake, but a less fluffy version of cake that I've done in the past. And that was nice. Da 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 da. Boo. Woo! I'm enjoying that now. I need to paint my nails. They are a mess. They are a mess. Jingle Bells, the rock version. Not Jingle Bell Rock, but Jingle Bells, the rock version. Okay. Do do do. Do 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 do. Welcome, Matt Topher. I hope. Wow, my voice wants to be crunchy tonight whenever it just decides to. That's wonderful. Welcome, and I hope the day has been marvelous to you. I hope the day's been wonderful to everybody. Happy Catterday. No, they're not quite cat ears, but you guys are used to seeing the little mousy kittens on Saturday, so I'm trying to fit in. I think when we start baking, I'm going to switch to my jack hat. Jingle, jingle. This is one of my favorite dollar store purchases ever. It's the best thing in the whole world. The Jack Skellington hat. Maybe we'll wear it down with the tank too. Because he's a little badass. The bow side. You have a fluffy on you. De floof, your floof. Why are you like attached? Weirdo. Better. I got a little Christmas sweater out for Pippi. I got the Santa suit out for Chauncey. And we'll probably put it on Ringo tomorrow. It'll fit a lot better. Put Diesel's little green suit on. Okay. I have like a whole big paragraph event text, which is okay. I think I told you guys my buddy stepped in a hole and broke his foot. He's been freaking out about, like rightfully so, if the company is gonna do workers' time or pay him for time off to recover, because the orthopedist said he should be off for like 3 months, which is insane. Welcome, Dvi. Hope your night is going beautifully. He wasn't sure he was gonna get laid off either, so I have the final verdict in my phone now, but Just like, okay, I'm glad you're feeling better. Yay. You're not feeling better, but not freaking out anymore. It's like, Pinky, you have to call your lawyer. Like, why don't you just let them figure it out really quick? I'm just confused though. Like, I thought that's what the union is for. I thought the union is supposed to handle stuff like that. If it happened on the job, they should be bending over backwards for him. It did. He stepped in a hole at work. He climbed off of the machine and stepped into a hole. But I don't know. Maybe I'm not as... Maybe I'm overly confident in union strategies. I just really thought that's what they were there for. Like, not to provide workers' comp, but like to speak up on your behalf and like hire the lawyer and figure it out and make sure that you're compensated for your time. Because when he's off for seasons and they're not doing production anymore, the union handles how to do unemployment for that time off. And I just thought they would be in charge of an accident too, but apparently this was harder to figure out than was expected. It's like, they're not just gonna like block your number and leave you hanging. But I really can't say shit for how much I freak out about shit, so. But in general, they should be bending over backwards for him. He's one of the few people I know that actually works their fucking ass off to the bone and is good at what they do and is pretty much indispensable. And of course, when you become that person, you become like the go-to person for everything. And essentially like the underpaid dad / foreman of the crew. And that's no bueno. Never show anyone how good you are at your job. It's one thing I've learned from my friends over the years. Never show anyone how good you are at your job, because then you'll do way more than just your job. It's an unfortunate fact of life. Because then you become a tool. You're not a person anymore. You become a resource. You become a tool. So they should be bending over backwards for him. But can Pinky call and yell at them and tell them that? No. Because that's not my place. Even though I'd like to. But I guess they've got it figured out now. I don't know how, but the preview says it's figured out. Monitor scoot. Oh, that's such a dreadful sound. That was brutal. Wait, can you get up? Or like, are you just chilling on top of there with the donut? I don't want to leave you alone for all of this. I guess we'll decorate the tree in here first. I think I just have to grab lights. And then either string or ornament hooks. I don't know if I have string in here. I might in my desk. Oh, we're going into the desk a lot tonight. That's ambitious. Ah! No. Here's a stapler. Where is my hole puncher? This is upsetting. It's really not there. Do I have yarn in here? Those blankets. No. At some point. Well, I gotta grab the lights anyway. I'll have to make a quick trip before. Some way to put the ornaments up on the trees. Serena's desk is like Hermione's bag. Never-ending possibilities. Yeah. There's a lot going on in that desk. A lot going on in there. Pinky could make some anonymous threat in the form of words and letters cut out from magazines. Without reading the next slide, I was just gonna say that's very Unabomber coded, and I don't have those sunglasses anymore. Thus completing the Unabomber persona. that was written on a typewriter. Well, I'm gonna clean the prongs for the receipt machine, and I'm gonna type it out on there and print that, but in Leet speak. And that's New Age. I can't call myself the Unabomber because someone's gonna report that and it's gonna be a problem. New Age. Unicorn complainer. I don't know. That's the best I've got. I'll be so confused. Oh god. Well, I guess most of the higher ups are younger now. So, like, would they understand lead speak or no? If they're, like, 25 and under? Most of their engineers and, like, the actual company people versus union people that are working. Everyone in charge is, like, younger than everyone working. Which is a newer problem. Those unicorns really do poop everywhere. Oh my god. That's when we gotta send Ringo over there to deliver the message. Bro shits like a horse. Because he is a horse. Whee! Oh yeah, I would like you to get up and show me that you are okie dokie dokie artichoke. Where's the star gonna go? Star is gonna go here. Weak. Wow, it's a really weak treat. Star is even pulling inches. They were nerds in a previous life, maybe. Oh, you fucking bitch. There. A star is born! I get to show you guys my version of the Elf on the Shelf that I grew up with. I don't think I've shown it on stream before. I'm excited. I found it in a box earlier. They were nerds in a previous life. Fix my snails really quick. Boy has turned around and put one paw on the platform. We are making progress. I cut my hair today just a baby little bit, and I'm not used to it yet. I need to feather this out a little bit more. I usually use my thinning shears, like from grooming dogs, to trim my hair, but I just used little tiny regular scissors today. So it's not well blended. But I cut off my dead ends, and I gave myself some little side spangs again, and I'm not used to it. It's different. I woke up with like that, and I was like, fuck. Like it was pissing me off. I was grumpy. I was like, why did you do this? You stupid idiot. I'm such a grump when I wake up. Like, not to really anyone around me. Like, maybe people, but certainly not the zoo. I know I've been grumpy to people in the morning very much. You learn quickly to leave me alone when I wake up. Just, I need my time. I need my space. Which I do try to communicate, but when communicating that first thing in the morning, it usually comes out as, can you please fucking give me some time and space to just fucking wake up? That's not nice. What'd you just do? Gunther and Zeke are doing something up there. You guys observe and report. Fuck you, keyboard. Observe and report. You cut your hair today too? Which one? Just kidding. Are you feeling all fresh and fancy for the holiday season? I had like 5 extra minutes when I was doing my skincare, and I was like, you know what? We're cleaning this up here. You got a couple minutes to do this. You can do it. I like barely took an inch off the bottom, so I don't think it looks any shorter. I'm happy with it. Added a little baby bit of layers. I'll probably go over it again the next couple days with my thinning shears. Because that just layers it so much nicer. My niece has super thick hair because she's half Indian. And my nephew has super thick hair too, but like he doesn't wear it super long like my niece does. And my aunt used to pay me to thin out her hair with my thinning shears. So she don't have to do it going to the salon. fist is looking a much less scuffied. Before, after. It's bad. Had to get presentable for the festivities. Nice clean neckline. A good little shave or trim. I commend that. It's a forward-thinking man. Now you're not rushing to do it on the day before Christmas Eve or worse, Christmas Eve, like probably every other guy out there. Oh shit. Mom's gonna yell at me about my hair. Gotta go to Great Clips right quick. Do you guys go to an actual barber salon, or do you go to Great Clips or like Sport Clips or something similar? I'm not judging either way. I'm just curious. I'm taking a poll right now. Oops. Taking a poll right now of the men of the world. I do not know a single man that goes to a barber. Like anyone who has like nice facial hair, like fun little hair things, they know how to do them themselves. And everyone I know goes to either Great Clips or Sport Clips. Is that just like a man thing? Probably definitely Sport Clips, but... Oh no, you know what? I take that back. I used to take my grandpa to an actual barber. His barber was a sweetie. My grandpa used to fall asleep getting his hair cut. But it made me nervous. So you'd do big snores. And like, what if you're snoring, right? As there's like a little snip snip moment, you know? Welcome, Maya. I hope the night's being lovely to you so far. Do you go to a barber's but for your head hair and you take care of your beard? I feel like beards for men also, oftentimes, I kind of like how girls think about their hair, like you guys are particular about them, you want them to look a certain way, give off a certain vibe, and I think that's really cute. It's adorable. Snowfall is just kind of old and yuck, but we're making it work. This song is called Purpose by Johnny Easton. Whatever the hell that is. Coffee! I'm excited to decorate for Tank. I was so nervous, but I did nap with Tank a little bit earlier. I spent some time away from Boya. But he did well. He did good. I was watching him on camera the whole time I was awake and away. But I didn't want Tank to freak out. He was a little bit nerve-wracked about my scooching of things in there. He got a little scared. He hid under the couch at one point. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, buddy. So I wanted to make sure he felt all settled and good. And he was my little baby spoon. It was perfect. It was perfect. And Voya was so brave. Spending 2 hours and 42 minutes away from Mummy. Let them do your beard before, and it's kind of nice, like a spa sort of treatment. Ooh. I think you've mentioned before you've done the fancy shaves. Is that expensive? Like that is that on par with like girls getting like waxes or their nails done? I actually don't know how expensive a wax is. I can't wax my eyebrows. It makes me break out. I don't know why. I think it's just a sensitive skin thing. If I had many wishes, because I do have many wishes, but if I had many wishes from a genie, probably one of the first 5 would be less sensitive skin. Give me more options. More options for products and things. I don't have to worry about if I'm trying a new mascara if it'll make me cry my eyes out. Has that happened before? MFC did little makeup bags and makeup products for a couple of years, and I was so excited to try the mascara, and the mascara looked so nice, made my lashes so fluffy, and then I had an allergic reaction to it while streaming. Like, it just slowly started happening over the course of existence. And by, like, a half hour, I was cooked and I had to go shower it off and, like, take a Benadryl and take the day. Like, fuck. It was not pleasant. I'm like, what's going on? My eyes are red and itchy and, like, trying to maintain character. And what's going on? And then it's like, no, I think I'm having an allergic reaction. $25 for a haircut and shave. Damn! Where can I go for that deal? Great clips. Just kidding. They were very fluffy. Like, a good mascara will volumize and, like, separate each lash so that they're more full. And it definitely accomplished that. It was a great working mascara. I was just allergic to it. Fluffy lashes and then fluffy eyelids. Yeah. Thankfully, I wasn't too swollen. It was just like a lot of redness around the eyes. Like by the time I got out of the shower and got it all off. Why would you do that? But they had a good eyeliner that came out with that. I don't remember what else. There's a couple of other things. I was so excited to try my makeup swag bag though, but then no. I guess I like chunked off a corner of this nail. That's nice. Oops. It's all not shapely. Right now we're gonna consider painted tonight good enough. We have not gotten into the kitchen yet. I'm still doing human maintenance. But tonight we're gonna bake some brownies and sugar cookies. And maybe some little gingerbread cookies. I have a kit. I thought they were gonna be pre-baked. So I got another kit a couple weeks ago of pre-baked gingerbread men that we're gonna decorate around Christmas time. And I saw ninjas when I was at the store today, like gingerbread ninjas. And I was like, oh, this is so cute. Like, there's 2 of these, and then we can do 2 of the alter egos. But I didn't read the box, as per usual. So you have to bake the guys, and then there's like 12 of them. So we're going to have way more ninjas that I planned for. It's a whole situation. It's a whole situation. God bless you. Are you okay? Bless you. Bless you, my soul. No 2-legged children in this house. Only cats and dogs. I am the only 2-legged one. What if we had a kit, though? Isn't a kit a baby fox? A K-I-T? Little baby fox. I'm excited to make the ninjas. I always fail at gingerbread men shapes. They turn out funky and chonky. Which is okay. Nobody's perfect again, but I don't know if I'm brave enough for that tonight. But definitely brownies, my famous brownies, and sugar cookies. Box mix sugar cookies, because I need to use those up. Aww. That's the best feeling in the world. I would imagine. I'm jelly. No baby fox. Aww. Kit baby fox, kid baby goat. Both future franchise acquisitions. Probably. We're gonna have at least one of everything, if not 2 of everything. It'd be like Noah's Ark. Serena's Ark. Serena's Stream the Dream Project's constantly evolving character arc. At least once a week, it'll be like, oh, we have an owl. Oh, we have a fox. Oh, we have another horse. There's another cat. There's a rabbit. There's another dog. There's a bald eagle. That would be brave. I feel like I'd be more scared of handling an owl than a bald eagle. I guess surely size-wise, though, I've never seen a bald eagle in person, and I bet it would be very intimidating. I really need to replace this nail polish. This is taking forever. No! Not again! Not again. No, you're joking me. You're joking me. No. Not this week, at least. This week, oh, it'll get up to like 50 in like a week. No. Although the end of January was, I think, when we had about the last one. No. Don't do this to me again. Oh, we already went through it. We're done and over with. I didn't know that we considered that a polar vortex. Okay. I thought my buddy was just exaggerating because he was like, Pinky, be careful with the dogs outside. It's gonna be like the polar vortex a few years ago. But I guess I didn't understand, and I didn't realize that I guess we did go through one. I mean, it sucked, but it wasn't that bad. We got through it. Wasn't as bad as the cold spell we had last year. At least this year I haven't had to bring out the AstroTurf inside for the dogs yet. Thankfully. We got some big dogs now. Big dogs. Now we're gonna try to tame a beaver though. Long teeth, slappy tails. I mean, it's just like a more round version of a cat with smaller ears. I'm in Chicago. Do gotta make sure the Ark is well heated. Well, it was really cold for a few days though. There's frost on the windows. That's why I had the blanket up on the side of the couch, blocking out the air from the baby's room. Not blocking out the air, blocking out the cold draft from the baby's room. And then of course Daisy wanted to sit on it and like lean into the window, nap on the window, lick the window. Like, bitch, it's frozen. Lucky it's not metal. Tongue will get stuck. Chicago does have a really pretty Christmas. I'll give it credit for that much. I feel like New York would be prettier. Maybe that's just whimsical thinking because I've never experienced it. I've heard downtown does a very good little Christmas setup. News likes to play stuff up like that anyhow to make it newsworthy. Yeah, it was not as bad as a chunk of winter last year, and it certainly was not as bad as the polar vortex. I think the lowest we got down to was like actually 3 degrees. I don't know what the wind chill was, but last year we got down to like -6 or 7 for a chunk of days, and then during the polar vortex it was like negative double digits. 11, 12, 13, and that was bad. That was bad. It was very cold. Okay, let's let these dry really quick, and then I'll get the Kimpton ornaments up. I think we'll stick the stars over on there. I think that'll work out. I'm gonna move my camera back to where I had it before. This is not a good method. I moved it and it's fine, but it's not gonna work for how I want to manipulate it tonight. One moment, please. Loading. If I do this while it's on, you guys will spin around, and that won't be pleasant. Okay. That's better. To whatever extenter. I think we went through this the last time you popped in minis. I'm having deja vu. I think we can stick the stars on there. How much more of this playlist is there? Oh, a bunch more. We're barely even halfway through it. It's 30 songs. We're on number 14. Let's go. Ah, as I bonk you guys. Rude. So I realized looking back that these just sound like ugly wind chimes. Like they have a wind chime effect, but it doesn't sound pretty and like calming and whimsical like wind chimes do. How are we gonna do this? There's no small leaves. I guess we can connect the two of these, and then this should be able to go over it. Let's beta test with Mr. Chong. I think that will work. Oh, not all the leaves have that piece. But it will work. Oh, I activated the toy. This is gonna be annoying. Ziggy loves this stupid thing though. It's the beauty of Club Cult. It's a choose your own adventure. You believe whatever you want to believe. Which I mean, it's the internet, so that's the natural order of it all anyway. Okay, I'm gonna grab lights and whatever else I said I was gonna grab. The Tankmas tree, and I feel like something else. Be right back. I'll get this baby beautified. Beautified! Oh, I forgot to get command strips to hang up the stockings, and then 2 little ones for the Grinch thing in Tank's room. I wanted to put up the Grinch banners. I knew I was gonna forget something. I always forget something. Yeah, boys stocking. I don't think I grabbed all the stockings yet. Boy, I got a schmancy new one this year, though. Look, it's him. It is him. I did not have much of an assortment for other kitties, though. Oh, I can put the stars on the Tankmas tree. Yes. That's perfect. Do you guys want to see the elf on the shelf that I grew up with? Instead of a star, my grandpa used to put this on top of the tree. I don't put it out because I'm afraid of everyone getting into the tinsel. But, oh, if I can get this open. Come on, stubborn. Have a wonderful rest of your night, minis. Isn't it, like, creepy? It's very old. It's made of, like, cardboard on the inside. I didn't grow up with the elf on the shelf. I grew up with this. And it was my job to get lifted up to put it on top of the tree. He's a beautiful little guy. I love him. And creepy Santa. love Creepy Santa. One of these years we'll use the really fancy ornaments that I have from my grandparents, and we'll do like maybe the first Christmas at the Franch. We'll do like an actual really big, nice Christmas setup with a lot of doggy gates around it. So far, I've never had a cat that likes to climb the Christmas tree, but they do like to fuck around underneath it. That's pretty universal for everyone. We're not doing too much, Voya. It's okay. We're not doing too much. It's okay. Happy holidays from me to you. Ba-da-do-do-do. Happy holidays to you. Hopefully they still work. I plugged them in downstairs and they worked. I think I have to move this for the plug though. Or if it's only on when we're in here, we can plug it in over there. That works. Mildly inconvenient, but not like the worst thing in the world. I don't know, that just looks weird. It's ugly. Where's the plug behind here? Hi Zeke, are you gonna help? You gonna be a little helper? Santa's a little helper. Very precarious. It really is all the way over there. That's so far. Okay, we're plugging it over here. I'm not playing these nonsense games with reality. No! Because I don't want to do that every day. It doesn't sound like a good time. Is that the only guy that fell? Yes. He's hanging out with Mr. Sloth. I think I have a small extension cord that I can run to make it look less weird on the ground level. Hi, Boya Bean. There's a smarter way to do this. Don't get tangled. Don't do that. It's rude. Yeah, this one is like a Tangled vibe. Like the song, but also the lights. a star. Is it as cute as I think it is? That's not even. It looks cute from where I am, though. It's like middle light heavy. That's better. That's more evenly dispersed. Voya likes. He is quite interested. Maybe the donut works. He seems pretty okay with it. Oh, you can pull it off though. You gotta tighten it. Not quite. There we go. Little donut boy. Woo! Alright, we're gonna leave the top on here. Merry Christmas. Still proud of that one. I'm not very good at lettering. And do we have enough clippies? Those are probably deep in the bottom of another Christmas box. The rest of them. Do I dare open the desk one more time? I don't want to. The desk stresses me out. It's messy. Stresses me out. No. Before I used the clips for that, they did live in there, but they don't live in there anymore. Don't live here anymore. Tankmas. It's cute. I'm not very good at lettering, and I'm actually, oops, I just broke one. Really proud of how that turned out. But I just broke one of the clips. Serena. Oh, God. What an idiot. Hopefully she'll stay up. Like, oh my God. My life is falling apart. No, it's not. It's just giving me tough skin and valor. A little Grinch tree. Oh, the who's done in Whoville, the tall and the small. Couldn't believe she had a tree this small. He's such a funky little buddy. I love him. You're a bit cockeyed, friend. There you go. Not enough clips for the stars. We gotta figure out a better method for the stars. Charlie Boundtree. Perfect though. No mess and easier to find a place for it. Yes. It is non-disruptive to Voya and will be very easy to put up so that no one chews on it while we're doing an eep. The stars. Or do we want to put the kitties on this one? But there's a lot of kitties and it's a small tree. Let's see how this works for scale. Oh no, Stripes, you lost your tag. I would be so sad when Stripes and Nibbler go home, but I'm so excited for them to have a good home. I'm gonna be so sad. That's like way too big. Or maybe, I don't know. Is this like a maximalist kind of situation? Oh yeah, no, they're gonna take the tree down and they won't even fit on the bottom. JK. It was an idea though. It's my little Charlie Brown Christmas tree. Let's see how we're gonna make these work. These are big too. I guess everything's gonna have to go on that tree, which is okay. I'm just trying to make it like special. Okay. had an idea for doing another kind of ornament another day, and I don't remember what it was, or even if I wrote it down. Ma'am, take your base and hold it. There we go. I don't know why I was moving it. It didn't need to go anywhere. None of these need to go though. I don't want to lose them. How did I do this with the other one? Loop-de-loo through. And get these sorted out and then put the stars up. I'm so glad I found these tags. They saved my butt. I don't know how, but it's so amazing the things that I have from my grandpa that are like literally older than me have come in so clutch with stream related stuff. I don't know if it's just me being an old soul or if they're just genuinely useful objects. It's coming so clutch. I'm so lucky. I'm so blessed. Also, whenever I use something, it makes me laugh and think about my grandpa thinking that I'm like a newscaster somewhere. I think I've told you guys this story. I've certainly told this story many times. I was just Serena until my grandpa and I kind of had the most mindful discussion that we could about what I do, like, i.e. why can I be helping and not working all the time, and why is she not grooming dogs anymore, and etc. And grandpa's just be nosy like that. So I had the most mindful conversation about it that I could, but I don't think I got my point across. Like, the first year my dad did my taxes when I was camming, I was trying to be gentle, and we were trying to figure out how to do it. I was trying to be gentle, explaining all of it, and he just didn't get it. And I was like, Dad, I'm an internet stripper. Like, that's basically it. Which is a little awkward, but no, I'm an adult. I can make my own choices. I appreciate that my dad is in agreement on that. Those are his exact words. You're an adult and you can make your own choices. Like, you are damn right. But I tried to explain it to my grandpa, and he didn't quite get it. He thought I was like a newscaster on TV. So you'd always you'd like try and figure out what channel I'm on, and like I'm trying to explain to them it's like a computer channel, and like you can't get to it, and blah blah blah. And he's like, well, I have Comcast and I have every channel, and I'll look for you on TV tonight. That's how Serena TV came to be, and it just happened to be in the perfect coinciding timeline of everyone on Twitch adding TV to their name too. It was wildly convenient and wonderful. He gets all of the credit. For most ways that I am, for better or for worse. Oh, I can hook these on the lights too. I didn't think about that. That's smart. Mr. Tank. I wonder if the kitties are gonna play with the lower ones. We'll see. Oh, Tank! Why? You did the same thing off the cat tree. Floop. There's the boy. Little Miss Stripes. With the silly little stripes. And little kid. Little kid the cat. Oh, Kid and Tank look too much alike. They can't be right next to each other. They're too much, they look too much alike. And Miss Nibbler! Oh, this is like Jurassic Park Christmas. This is an interesting one. But little Nibbler at the top of the tree, 'cause she's a lovely little BB. Stripes, you gotta turn around and face the world with confidence. There you go. It's very on par for their personalities. Let's stick the stars. It's looking interesting. There's the star. Put the star up. don't think we can see it very well. It should be over a leaf or something. Schmancer. Schmancer, schmancer. I want to put up the stars on the leaves, and then our Christmas decor in here is done. I just pretend I'm a Jehovah's Witness this year. I usually burn out around Christmas anyway, because like Halloween is so intense. And then I continue cosplaying into November, almost inevitably. But this year I feel like we had the time and energy for Christmas, but I don't want to disturb the boy's peace, the little donut baby. He's so cute in that thing. It's so big though, like you're not looking nothing with that. Oh my god. Little baby bean. Here's looking at you, kid. Can we see Voya from here? How? Well, that's me. I wonder. Haha! Almost. Ha. Oh, why is he upside down? Why are magnifying glasses like spoons? I didn't know they were like spoons. Can someone explain the science of this to me? Why is he upside down? It does need cleaning. I've never used it since it was at my grandparents' house. It's just been in the drawer. Why is he upside down? What? It's not. You're not a spoon. I have questions. Comments. Concerns. It does need cleaning. It needs some Windex. I did wipe it off with a rag earlier, but like it needs more than just a dusting. It's our fun new prop though. I went shopping in my desk. Merry Tankmas. Merry Tankmas. Merry Tankmas. Ow. I just kicked that. To you. I'm gonna stick these on over. Red Rover, Red Rover. Stick the stars on over. Why have I never wrapped the pole like a candy cane? I feel like that would be fun. Why haven't I done that? I still need to buy more construction paper too. I forgot construction paper and I forgot command strips today. Let me write that down. Target, you failed me. Actually, no, Serena, you failed you. Not Target. Command strips. Or command hooks. Same thing. Not really, but same section. What else did I just say? Construction paper. Actually, you can probably go to the Dollar Tree for those. Construction paper, yeah. She is an interesting creation. It's a tree. It's a tree. I've been telling myself to buy more construction paper for like a week. And I have not. So obviously it needs to get written down at this point. Definitely making a list. Definitely checking it 6 different times. Oh, I'm having an ambitious thought, but I don't know if I dare say it out loud. What's it gonna be like outside tomorrow? I have to go to PetSmart and get more kitten food tomorrow, so I have to leave the house anyway. What's it gonna be like out? 18 to 31, not even above frozen. If it's not too miserable and if I'm not too crabby, mayhaps I'll take you guys with me. Why I wanted to look too. Supposedly Kick has its own independent Go Live app now. I don't know if I'm being trolled or if that's real. But I wanted to go to the Spirit Christmas store, assuming the boy is all good, of course. I wanted to check out the Spirit Christmas store, and then we can grab other things at the Dollar Tree too. Just fuddy-duddy around with it. What social media am I looking for here? I bookmarked it on Twitter, I think. And I said, Serena, look at this later. And now it's later. It's called Kick Go Live. It's there. App developer Kick Streaming. Is it easy to spoof app creators' names? Voya is looking pretty comfy in the donut. I think he's vibing with it now. Has 4 ratings so far. It's the perfect best streaming platform. I don't know. Let's download it and check it out another day maybe. Maybe start here with like a little beta test. Oh, it just like takes you right into it. That's interesting. Ooh. That's what you guys might see tomorrow. Probably minus the ears and much more tired, but that's interesting. Supposedly, just like how Twitch has, you can mobile stream on the go, Kick has a mobile streaming app now. Kick Go Live. They haven't officially announced it. I guess it's just been tested for the last few weeks, but it's in the App Store as of 4 days ago, I think. Someone commented test streams over the last 4 weeks and today have been happening. So I don't know who's been testing it or like how it's been used, but I'd like to try it while we have Wi-Fi and phone signal. And then we'll probably switch to Twitch if I do end up running errands around, just because I know that's pretty stable on the go, and I don't like fuddy-duddying with things while I'm driving. It's just annoying. It's about time they're really dragging their heels on that. Yes, for like how much they really like. Oh, I'm saying this all wrong. Rewind, start over. For how much they've incentivized, given deals to have partners that are either mostly, strictly, or at least partially IRL streamers. Like, IRL streaming, I think, takes up half of Kick, which they probably intended, like, gambling to take up half of Kick, but I think, in my opinion, IRL streaming, in my perspective, not my opinion, my perspective, takes up about half of Kick, which is nice. It's good. I like that. I like the on-the-go-ness of it. It's wonderful. So to be able to do it would be cool. It's a nice, easy interface. We'll have to try it out in Tomorrowland. Somewhere like that. I wonder what chat will look like on there. I wonder how it'll be. That's interesting. I didn't actually think it existed, otherwise maybe it would have been fun to try it tonight. Read chat too much while driving anyway. It's not my fault, I hit a lot of red lights. No, you haven't been able to stream from mobile with Kick. Anytime I've done it is just off of my own camera connection to my internet or my computer. Now it's connecting to my computer. It used to connect through the same internet connection. Twitch has had that forever. I think I did my first IRL stream on there in like 2022 or 2023? And it's been out way longer than that. It's probably been out since pre-pandemic, if not earlier. They were really dragging their heels on that. But, I mean, it's not my fault you guys type in capital letters and make it easy to read for me. Twitch has had their own growing pains, though. They're much older, yeah. They're certainly established. And most people don't know that they were just in TV before Twitch, so it was already a streaming platform that was refined into another streaming platform. Jingle bells. In that holiday spirit. Oh goodness. Twitch is having a lot of growing pains, honestly. Their economy somewhere, and I won't pretend to actually know things, but is hurting. Their introduction of like the gift 1,000 subs at XYZ discount, gift 5,000 subs at XYZ discount, like that's insane and ridiculous. Number one. Number two, that's just insane and ridiculous. If you're gonna spend that much, don't let the company take a site. Do like a Ko-Fi or like something of the sort. They've never posted profits. Can you buy stock of Twitch? I thought that was Chauncey. It's okay. It's okay. Baby. Baby. Chauncey had a nightmare that he wasn't allowed to wear the Santa suit. See? Sheds tinsel. He just wants a Holly Tankmas. I feel so bad with his night terrors. Like, I have night terrors. They're disruptive. Like, I'm pretty used to them at this point in life, but occasionally, like the other night, there's a new version of one that's absolutely mentally disruptive, and I feel so bad. I feel so much for him that he goes through those. He looks so sad and inconsolable. Like, what are you remembering? What are you thinking of, my son? What? Speaking of what time? How is it midnight? What the... I know I got on late tonight, but like, dang. How did that happen? Let's at least decorate for Tankmas before we run out of time and I turn into a pumpkin. No, I kind of like these ears. I think we're gonna rock with these ears. I'm liking them. Have a holly jolly Tankmas. I think all of the tank things are in his room. All of the ornaments. I want to redo his tree. It's already decorated. I usually just put things away pre-decorated if they're small. Because I'm lazy and it's just like, oh, if I want to reuse this next year, let's make it easier. But I want to redo it. I don't like it. His room is like a blue Christmas theme instead of like red and green. We're taking this very seriously, obviously. And it has to match the vibe, so we have to get the red garland off of it. And redo a few of the little ornaments. Oh, why are you wrapped around? Get unstuck. Crikey. Crikey! Sorry, Boya. I didn't need to make a sound for that. There we go. All better. Ease keys. ISO keys. I want to set up their new wobble too. New little fountain. We can do that when we come back upstairs. Have a holly jolly Tankmas. Yada da 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 da. Da 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 da. I almost wonder if it stresses Boy out a little bit when I leave music playing when I leave the room. So we're gonna try turning it off while we go by lives. Oh, the app button for it is cute. It's so cute. It's so cute. My two soul babies. Let's back up. And then, Voya. Mr. Voya Bean. Actually, that picture of him is on, I think, the gray tree that's in the kitchen now. Oh no, I think I bought 2 of the gray tree that's in the kitchen. I gave one to my dad, because he doesn't, like, he's a good pet owner, but he doesn't, like, think about things like enrichment. He just doesn't. I think I told you guys that his spinny thing for the cats broke, and he didn't say anything about it. It was just like, I came over and he's like, Sylvester's sad, his toy broke. And like, lay on the, I didn't know. Lay on the guilt, why don't you? Good God. Good God, Lemon. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Lerp, lerp, lerp. Where's Gunther? Gunther's way up high in the roly-poly sky. Where's Zeke? Zeke is under the desk, and so is Boy Bean. Beep, 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 beep. Alright, lose audio and switch over for a sec. Not in that order. Lose audio for a sec and then switch over. Gunther, you're so proper. So proper. Tell Father TV to update Sylvester's social media with the status if you expect people to know. Oh God. Like the little bubble, the little speech bubble you get on Instagram now. Have him update that. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Gunther! Gunther, you spirit animal. Do you too also wish to be perched atop a tree, relaxing? I mean, honestly, that sounds nice. I wouldn't mind it. I would like it. You need to rewrap that tree. It's a mess. I think they sell replacement ropes to fix the bottom one. Where am I? The one that's not on top. Have a holly jolly Tankmas. Yada dun 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 dun. You were so naughty earlier. I can't believe you knocked over Voya's bowl. You knocked it on the table. The table's not supposed to get wet. You're supposed to use coasters and just, oh my God, Gunther, you didn't use coasters. You didn't use coasters. Oh shit, I need to take fence. Okay, we're gonna do that really quick. And then take a sip of coffee. And then head to Mr. Tank. But first, I have like a 3-foot extension cord I think I'm gonna use for the bottom of this so it doesn't look so weird. This can just hang out up here. I shall return. I shall return. Oh no, we have a runaway star. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Okay. I'm excited to put up a tree in Void's room and get some cute little pictures of her. And then after Stripes and Nibbler go home, and probably get I'm thinking Daisy in the bedroom with Void, and then do the screen from there. And then I'll get some cute little Christmas pictures of Daisy too. Short extension cords vex me. They are kind of purposeless, except for stupid little things like that. Otherwise, there's no purpose to. I think that's about a yardstick. A 3-foot extension cord. Hi, Voya. Voya wants some love. You want some love. You want some love. Some love. Wasn't there a Seinfeld episode about someone not using coasters? Probably. My grandparents were very particular about coasters, and I thought that was just because of like the chance, like the off chance of something leaving a drink mark. But all of the furniture is like not sealed, or it just wasn't made like that in the time that it was made. I don't know. But if I spill like the littlest drop of water, you have to clean it up right away. Otherwise, it's going to leave a mark. I have maimed a couple of spots on the furniture, and I do that, and I say, Grandpa, I'm so sorry. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. Mr. Donut Man. He is a little donut man. He loves streaming with the sandbox behind me. Mr. Zeke, what are you doing? Little tunnel buddy. He was playing so funny earlier. Oh, Slavka's on her way. So we gotta be on our way too. Oh my god. Sip of coffee and let's go. Gunther coming through. He just saunters on by. He's so cute. Luckily with wood furniture, nothing's really ever permanently ruined. True. I mean, after it's sanded down like 20 times, it's really can't be fucked with anymore, but I try to remind myself of that. Everything that I maim can be fixed. And all of the furniture that like the kitties have scratched, one, I try to remind myself it's furniture. It's not necessarily replaceable, but the cats are less replaceable. And I have all of the furniture has arm covers, like for the arms of the chairs and whatnot. So I have those swatches saved. They're not really swatches, they're pieces of furniture, but I have them saved so that I can repair all of the reupholster everywhere that everyone's scritched. Once they're in more mindful spots instead of just easy cat access. That was good thinking, I'm thinking. Oh, I have to sign in to restream. Hold on, Slavka. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're giving me indigestion. Just kidding. Excuse me. You tank test us. Tank test. Even if you can't sand it down anymore, you can always paint instead of stain. Even though it is a bit of a sin to paint good wood. Oh god, it is. In every single subreddit of older houses that I follow. Can't give it the landlord special. We'll figure it out. I like distressed furniture anyway. As someone who is often in distress, I like distressed furniture. I think it'll work well. Aw, Tank just exploded all over your face. That was cute. That sounded dirty though. I didn't mean it like that. A piece of straw got inside. Or a piece of hay. No, hay is for horses. Straw is for strays. Straw. Straw. The claw. Straw. Okay, Gunther, we love you. We're gonna go decorate Mr. Tank's room. And bake some cookies. Cookie crisp. Cookie crisp. I guess we could do either the gingerbread cookies and the sugar cookies tomorrow. We could do the brownies. We'll figure it out. I want to do at least one of them. I can't be a liar. I made it my stream title. Come on. We're better than that. I'm better than that. Mr. Voya Bean. You're very cute. Hello, Slavka. You're very naughty. You're very cute, but you're very naughty. Yes. You're my baby. You're my baby. Yes. Oh my god, I'm on the wrong. Oh my god, restream, you fucking dumb. It came up, but I tank tested in the wrong place. That was weird. Do that one more time. Sokka, you're not allowed over here. I was just lazy with keeping the doors closed. Hear your little fat butt going through there? She barely fits anymore. But she still does it. Chong actually fits through still, which is amazing. Not that he's chunky, but oh my god. One more time. Tank test. Tank test. Hopefully most stream viewers suffer from unliteracy. That's possibly true. I plead the fifth on that one. I'm certainly quite illiterate at times. What are words anyway? I love you, Mom. I love you, babies. It's good little monkeys. Yay! I love you too, Sokka. You're just an insane little lady. You're an insane little lady. Crazy girl. I decided to bake. I washed baking sheets. We are going to bake. Damn it. We're baking, god damn it. Hello, Slavka. Slavka has big words to share with the world. Meow. 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 A Slavka sabbatical, if you will. Slavushka Maruska. Hello, Flufska. Hello, Flufska. No free butts. Don't be showing off your butt to the world. Hey, Pippi. Pippi, you gotta switch your sweater for your Christmas sweater. You gotta switch for your Christmas sweater. It's like an old man sweater. Need to train her to start using that tail as a duster, right? I cleaned the floors earlier, and it would have been so nice if instead of climbing in front of the broom and playing with everything I was sweeping, she would actually have helped sweep. Oh my goodness. Can you pause? Thank you. Thank you, pause. Thank you, pause. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, no more little demon sweater. Free! Free and cozy. Pippi, you need a haircut way sooner than later. String in here. But Chauncey in the Santa suit and makes me back up too. It's a little big for him and it falls down, and I don't want him to get his legs stuck over or not up here. Pippi, sweater. Floomp. Floomp. Pippi, go floomp. Pippi, itch ear. Pippi, just on a mission. Do you want to take a break from your sweater for a little bit before you put another one back on? I think she wants to rub around. We'll let her live her best life. Hello, I know you love your clothes, but I think that feels good. Oh yeah, it feels good for a minute. It feels good. It's just been so chillies. It's been so chillies. Okay, 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 okay. Ready to see Tank's new crib? MTV Cribs. Tankmas Cribs. Back down with the boy. Chauncey, you're so cute. You're about to be Santa Paws. Santa Paws. Santa Paws. Santa Paws. Santa Paws. I'm excited to put the Santa suit on Ringo. I just want to put it on all the other dogs and get pictures before it goes on Ringo, because then it has to go in the wash. Slavushka Maruska. Mr. Tank. Mr. Tank, look at this fancy boy. Look at this fancy boy. I feel like he lives in like a hotel room. Room service. Fresh sheets. Also, I think this blanket is like for either a full or a queen. I don't think it's a king. The comforter is kind of small, but that's okay. It's a little blue Christmas theme. So what do you guys think? Should the tree go up here? Because there's an outlet there. Probably yes. But then I wonder if he'll play with it. Or I like the idea of it over there, but he can definitely take it down from over there. I don't know which I want to do. We have his little stocking up for Santa to bring goodies. Mr. Tank, you are a royal avocado. You are a royal avocado. Yes. Yes. His one ear in this one tiny spot. His ears don't get dirty, but there's always a little bit of wax there to clean. Always. It's one little tiny spot. Always the same spot. Sat square in the middle of the bed. I know. Well, this is two twin mattresses. There's kind of like a squish in the middle, but there's also like a really thin mattress pad that I folded up and put in the middle so that he can't. I mean, he's not going to fall through the blanket, but so he can't fall into it or hurt himself. Then he has the stairs over here. When he gets down, I'll show you guys how he gets up the stairs. Are you going to go down the stairs? Good boy. Tank learned it in 2 seconds. Pippi didn't learn it in 6 months or longer. He learned it so fast. I was going to get command strips and put them up over here, at least surrounding that. And then put up the Grinchmas ones. I think those would be cute for Tank's room. Also, I had them for the stream room before, and they didn't look good up there. Thankfully, these ornaments are plastic too, so he can't break them and have glass if he does knock them over. Uh-oh, you're really stuck. How do you get unstuck? Merry Grinchmas. You should lay out to try to smooth. And then I'll fold them up neat. No, I will not be ironing them. One, they're probably made out of plastic fabric. Two, I am too lazy for that shit. Merry Grinchmas. Merry Grinchmas. Merry Grinchmas to Tank. Tank is so fucking smart. Street Cat is very smart, and he is the king of the bed. I laid down with him for a little bit earlier, and we snuggled, and I think he likes it. He was a little confused by it. He got scared when I was doing it, but I think it works better with his new treat too, so that he can like kind of do like little Mario cat do 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 do. You know, I think he would like that. I think he would. He is very smart. He's my smart little boy. Alright, I think we'll probably do the tree up. The outlet is right there. It'd be more convenient to put presents over there, but there's not an easy outlet over there. There's not an outlet on that wall. Yeah. Well, and then Santa can just tuck his presents into there. So I guess that would be fine. I guess. I suppose. Let's put this over here-ish. I think. There you go. I can't find any of my Christmas pillows or blankets. Clearly, Serena needs a tree of her own, experiencing cat tree envy. Because it's an exterior basement wall, probably. It would need a faux wall. Oh, good point. That is. Good eye and good point. That is the backyard on the other side of it. Ugh, lame. No, those outlets are used up. There's no good solution. That was perfectly in timing with Ringo dropping his bone upstairs. Alright, so this calamity of a situation. Actually, let's do this on the floor so it's like easier to vacuum up any little leftover pieces. On the floor, and then Tank can help too. Need a couple 3-foot extension cords, right? Oh my god. Don't judge me in my extension cords. I see them at Goodwill for cheap, I buy them. And maybe one day I will need them and use them. Case in point, Christmas time. I don't know which, I think these lights are broken, but like half of them light up. I just don't remember which half. But I want it to be like silver blue themed. I want to get the red garland off. Hi, Tank. I feel like you want to be helping, but like you don't know how to help right now, and that's fair. I just don't know if I put the lights or the garland on first. It seems like I put them on at the same time, which I know I didn't, and it's confusing. What the heck? I feel like this is a lesson in putting things away while pre-decorated, and probably don't do that again. I've learned. Where are you stuck? Okay. Fancy. Schmancy. Pantsy. Hi, Tanky. Tank just wants treats. That's Tank's MO. He just wants cookies. He just wants cookies. You just want the snacks. He's the snack man. Ski ba 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 ba. Wow, I did that very efficiently. Wow. 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 I forgot I had you guys right next to me. Who would never? Sure. Sure, Jan. Sure. Something before our time was the traveling salesman with all sorts of short length of cords. I'm jealous. I'm waiting for him to knock on my door. It was a better time. He's looking for snacks on the tree. Oh God. The tree does not have snacks. Kirby vacuums and Britannica encyclopedias. Oh, what a time to be alive it was. The good old days. When you were a kid, you remember you had the Oric salesman come to the house. What's Oric? I don't think we ever had salespeople come by, but also like my dad was like me now and didn't answer the door like ever unless it was expected to be knocked on, like no soliciting. So I think that's why a vacuum company, they sell the in-house plug-in super long cord vacuums. I bought one of those at the French so bad. I want it to be wired in and go everywhere, and it's only one story, so it'd be I want it. I want it so bad. I want it so bad. I want it. I love those. I wish they were still like a commonplace thing. There's some like McMansion 90s builds that have them, but that's like really it. As far as modern houses that still have them. Oh, those are the best. I think this is definitely like the broken side. Let's test it before we need to unwrap it. This is going to be really funny, so have a good laugh. Ugh. Believe it or not, that is the only available and accessible outlet. I plugged my phone charger into it earlier, and safe to say I am not moving it. Here's the tree that we painted for Tank last year. Because I didn't think he would be able to have a real tree. I thought he would go after it. Tank's 2024 tree. Aww. He's so pretty. Do you need an emotional support snack? Oh, if I find some of my Christmas plushies, we'll put them up there. With the Grinchy banners. Here, let's get an emotional support treat. Emotional support treat. Let's do like half of it, because you'll probably need more emotional support in a minute. It looked like the mattress ate you. I believe it. It was pretty much the start of one of those help me stuff rules. I'm so, no. It's how you get to the pluggy. It's bad timing, but it's warm in here. For whatever reason, this is the only room in the house that has 2 heat vents. There's a register over there and a register over there, and both of them feed into the room. There's not one that feeds out. This room is always so cozy, and it's so nice. I like it. Okay, so that's a method. It's a method to the madness. Look at that. It's like it's not even half working at all. It's just a short cord. It's a short king. Is that even? Yeah, it's so purple. Tank. My camera has a stick and doesn't like that. I almost just pulled up my skirt to wipe it. We got a bit smart. Oh, well, the lights are just really twinkly and bright then. It's exciting. Jingle, jingle. The mattress did eat me. I'm reborn. I'm regurgitated. The unlit half is just a 3-foot built-in extension cord with accessories. Damn fucking straight. Alright, so you've got a cute little... These are the first Christmas ornaments I ever bought when I lived in my apartment, and I still have them. They're so adorable. They're little... Oh, I think it's because the light is right here. It's so shiny. Or maybe they are just that shiny. Little hats and mittens and boots. You can do that for Tankies. Little matches. Stonking. That's hanging on a light switch, not a command hook. But you know, you do what you do. You do what you do. Walk and do, walk and do. Finding the burnt out bulbs and the mini lights are such a pain. I don't fuck with them if just one of them is broken. If it's like half the lights, half the string still works, obviously I'll still use it. I'll find a way. But if one breaks the entire chain of command, I'm done. I'm done. Pretty frugal, but even I would do that. Same. It's irritating to deal with. And Christmas lights are pretty cheap. It's not the worst thing to have to replace. Oh, it's gonna look weird. It's like on the ground or on the table. There's those. And then these, and no one looks at the back of the tree, so we're not putting anything on the back of the tree. Oh, where are my pine cones? I think they're on whatever the other tree was, wherever that one is. That would be cute on here too. Otherwise, they don't really disperse well. It could use with some padding. I always forget how to zoom this. It like only happens by chance. I give up. Christmas decoration boxes are over here. I'm gonna look really quick. Like the ones I didn't bring upstairs. That's just grandpa stuff. Was there anything else in here? Merp, 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 merp. Grandpa stuff. I think they are on wherever the other tree is. It must be in a box in the creepy room. So it's not in here. I have a crap ton of wrapping paper that I forgot about, though. I don't think I even knew I had it last year because I bought wrapping paper last year and it's still upstairs. Tank looks like a teenager. He's got his laptop, he's got his TV, he's got his little desk lamp, he's got his plate, he's got his folder, he's got his phone cord. Looks like a teenager on spring break. Or on spring break, winter break. Lord, what season is it anyway? It's really organized? No, it's not. I think you're being facetious. It's not very organized at all. Creepy room is where Stripes and Nibbler are because they're creepers. No, the creepy room is the utility room, like where the furnace is. And then you can't close the door because it used to like prank you about locking you out, but now it actually locks you in if you close it. So you can't close the door from the inside. Otherwise you're stuck. I got stuck in there for like a good 20 minutes last time I did. And it's creepy. I don't know. I'll take you guys in there in a minute. It's creepy. It's just creepy. I don't know what box it might be in there though. I don't know. Let's fold these up though. We'll try and make them a little nicer. Hang them up after we get strippies. Laten vi så about. Flat Stanley. Flat Stanley. Take a mole. They play paws under the door. Now that Slavka's bigger, I honestly want to see how they would play together because I feel like they both have the same unhinged energy. And like, if there's any match for Slavka, it's Tank. I just need to be sure that Tank will be super nice because he's FIV positive. He can't go biting on my girl. I mean, like a little nibble is not a big risk. It's deep bites that it's transmitted with. But he can be a little rough when he gets overstimulated. So we want to be careful. We want to be sure. I know I joked about they would have fun together, but she was a little smaller then. And now I think they really would have fun together. Because she's a little bigger now. And she's a big little monster. She's a very big little monster. Try and flatten those out. Tankamole. My little guacamole baby. Do you need more comfort treat? Do you? Do you? Do you? I don't want to go in the creepy room. It freaks me out. It's creepy. Tank, you got a cute little tree. Oh, I have a star upstairs to put on there. Let me put this in the thing and then get a star for him. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. This won't exactly match. Aw, Tank is so cute. You're just perfectly out of frame, you goober. You goober. You look so small in such a big bed. This is gold and white, but I think the white will complement the silver and the gold will complement the light, so I don't think it'll look too weird as I fold it upside down. I think it'll be okay. We'll see. Maybe that'll tie it together. Because it's kind of like gaudy and like obnoxious, and then everything else is simple. So that's like balancing, right? That makes sense. I think. See, this is why my dad decorates for me, because I don't know how to. I have no eye for these things. But I'm good at twisty ties at least. Aw, Tank, you have like a Macy's tree. Look at you, you fancy boy. Like it looks like it should be in the mall or something. Oh my goodness. How can I detach this without pulling the light off? It's so cute. Aw. I don't know why my camera has such terrible astigmatism. I guess it's just that bright and shiny and beautiful. I think that looks nice, actually. I don't think it needs more now. The bow is kind of gaudy enough to make it happen. Woo! We did good. It is a fancy treat for a fancy boy. We got his blue blinkies. That's just the theme we're going with in here for now. Did you use your steps to get up here? Did you? They work good? These are awesome. I really wish Pippi would have figured out how to use it, but she was just determined to not to. She went out of her way to avoid it and like run into it. It's like, let's not do that, please. Fancy tree for a fancy boy. You want another emotional support snack? And then we'll jump into the creepy room for a minute so we can prove how creepy it is. And then bake some brownies. Bake some brownies. There we go. That's better. Bonus snack. Bonus snack. There you go. Extra, extra, read all about it. Tank got a snack and he's gonna shout it. No doubt about it. When would Tank ever say no to an emotional support snack? If he ever went deaf and lost his voice, even then his tanky senses would probably tingle and he would find a way to communicate it. Aw. Tank, are you dreaming of a white Christmas where you're inside and not out in that? It's actually bonkers to think about that the last polar vortex he was probably outside for and probably a youngin' for. Because that would be about 6-7 years ago. I think it was 2018. Oh my god, Charlie. Oh my god, Slavka. Y'all are crazy. I don't have enough hands for what I need in life. Good boy, Tank. We love you, Bubbaloo. I love you, Bubbaloo. Where did that fall? There's a stash of liquid death cans and squirt cans in Tank's room. Like a dang teenager. Tried to put them in the recycle and then knocked them right over. It is incredible that he survived. Honestly, our winters get so cold every year. Like we go below freezing every year. That's a lot. Like you can report to animal control if an animal is outside in less than 10 degrees. 10 degrees is their cap. And he's definitely been out in less than 10 degrees before. Which is so sad. The furnace is running. Oh. Like that's good that it's running, but it makes me anxious. Creepy room. Water heater does not need to be replaced yet. Knock on wood. Furnace. Things. Things. See, I don't know here what would be more Christmassy. Slavka, don't fucking do it. I cannot close this door. I will get stuck. Step bro. Oh my god. None of that is Christmas. This is Grandma and Grandpa. 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 That's crafts. This is miscellaneous Serena and Grandma and Grandpa. Niece and nephew, niece and nephew, niece and nephew, niece and nephew. Grandma and Grandpa. So I'm missing a Christmas box somewhere. Somewhere, I'm missing a Christmas box. And I don't know where. Oh no, that says Grandma and Grandpa too. Where would I have shoved it? I don't know. But somewhere. There's a missing Christmas box. I wonder if it's in my closet upstairs. It's just creepy in here. I don't know. I just feel the creepy vibes. I tried to make it like nice and tolerable. I painted the walls. I made sure everything was like water sealed. I got it all buttoned up and nice and as tidy as it's gonna be. I mean, it's a storage room. It's not gonna look great, but Charlie, move. It's just creepy. And like those are the furnaces, and that's creepy and scary in itself. Closed. Doki do. Doki no. Gonna need to add some storage fees to the niece and nephew boxes. I've had I have my aunt's dollhouse too. And that's like it's mostly kids' toys in the boxes. And then I have my aunt's dollhouse and like I think one box of house things upstairs maybe. Or I think maybe 2 boxes of house things. And they've been in their new house for a handful of years now. Like since pre-pandemic, so like 5 years, and I still have all this shit. Which is it's okay, like it takes a while to settle. I understand that, like, but I'm going to need to be going soon. I keep trying to propagate this conversation. My aunt just like finds her way out of it. And it's like, bro, come on. Come on now. I should bring it up to my nephew because he'd probably like to look through his old toys like around Christmas time. Everything's closed. Yes, all good to go. Okay, let's bake some brownies, probably. And then we'll do double cookies tomorrow. Attics are creepier to you than basements. Oh, I used to be so afraid of my attic. Attics are, it's like liminal space. It's very disorienting. I was afraid of my attic for a long time, and a few years ago, I finally went up into it, and I braved it. I forced myself to like go through the stages, so I would climb up and like just stick my head in for a while, and then I got to the point where I can like sit on the side because I'd put boards up like so I'm not stepping on the insulation, and then slowly got like a little bit braver to like I think I sat up there for like 20 minutes and I was like, okay, I accept this, I'm okay with it. I exposure therapied myself into my attic. Neatly stacked boxes, other closet looking really organized to you, not being facetious. Well, dang, thanks. Because I feel like it looks like a rotten mess. Moving to the French does seem like a good deadline because I don't want to move that stuff too, especially not the dollhouse. Like it's from when my aunt was a kid and her older sisters, so a little bit older than that even. But it's fragile. I don't want to have to move it any more than it needs to. It's been in the same spot on my sewing desk for the last 5 years, at least. I think it's been about 5 years. I think their divorce was finalized in like 2020. I think. Oh, my clothes closet is a hot mess. I had great difficulty finding pieces for tonight's outfit. Option number 1 and 2. Didn't feel like number 2. We went with number 1. But number 2 is still a solid backup plan. Pippi, I feel like you need a sweatery. She's like, what? You like sweaters, though. You like sweaters, though. Hello, cozy baby. Hello, cozy baby. Boop, 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 boop. It makes her look like an old man, but it's still so cute. I love it. Hi, Slavka. Slavka, do you want a sweater, too? I don't know if you would wear a sweater. I don't think you would wear a sweater. Where's your leg hole? You got too much ears. There we go. Too much ears. Oh my goodness. There you go. This one. This one. There you go. Aw, baby girl. You're getting so old.
There you go, Mama. Chauncey, are you ready to be Santa Claus? Boop. We got this out too. Oh, where did I put the Pippi Harley collar? I think this is too small for Pippi. I got this for Voya last year, but she didn't want to wear it either. Put it on Flocka. Maybe she'll wear it. Nope. She said nope. But the Harley one has bells. Where did I put that for Pippi? It's somewhere. I know I saw it recently and organized, which means I have no idea where it is. Somewhere. It's in somewhere land. Chauncey! You want to be Santa? Come here. Santa Paws, Santa Paws, Santa Paws. Chauncey is Santa Paws, Santa Paws. Santa Paws, Santa Paws. You are so fucking cute as Santa Paws. He's my baby boy. He looks so cute. There's my baby. Oh, Chauncey babe, you're the Santa Paws. And Slavka, you're getting into everything, cause why not? Okay, let's bake some brownies. Chauncey, you're so cute. You're so cute. Yes, somewhere. Trademark. Well, if you're not gonna wear it, you can't chew on it. I'm just gonna put it over. Oh, that doesn't go how I want it. I'll just wear it then. Jeez. That works. It's a cat collar, but okay. It's also a garter. What do you think, Chauncey? Now I'm double jingly. That's exciting. Okay, brownies. Do I have my OG recipe card out? It looks like I do. Nope. That's a recipe that I wrote down on the back of, I think that's for kolaches. Wrote down on the back of a vet receipt for Tank, apparently. Good job, Serena. Is the brownie recipe over here? Or where is it? Where is it? Where is my brownie recipe? It's somewhere might be. I lost you guys. I don't know where I put you. Somewhere. But there. Where's my recipe box? Where is my recipe box? Hey, there it is. I have to climb. Just in case I rumble tumble, we're gonna put the camera on the puppy. I don't think I'm gonna rumble tumble, but you never know. You never know. These beans. Those. And it should be in here. The Betty Crocker Recipe Card Library. Good oak. Thank you and good night. Okay. I don't want to grab my coffee in a second. We're going to have to make more coffee for the brownies because it's the secret ingredient. It's the secret ingredient. Alright, I know what the folded piece of paper looks like. It's on an old printout from the computer. Should be in here. If it's not, I'll be sad. We'll have to just fudge it. Thank you, Chauncey. It's on my handwriting. Clearly, I'm extremely organized. Oh, I found a recipe for crumb cake. That sounds good. I don't think it'd be this far down. We used it recently, I thought. Not recently, but within the last year. You can see where I started with this one with flour and then where my dad took over. That's funny. Our handwriting is similar, but like distinctly different. Mine is just a little bit more bubbly. 3-bean salad.
Yo, round 2. Welcome, Babu. Summer celery soup. I'm never going to organize this. It's part of the joy of cooking, is to fish around for the recipe. Although, I don't know where it is. Apple oatmeal pancakes? Oh, that sounds good. When I went vegetarian, I got, like, obsessed with finding recipes. Breakfast ideas. Basic fruit, high fiber bread, oatmeal with unsweetened jam. Grapes, chunky vegetable hash. Banana, apricot jam, toast, kiwi and oatmeal. Apple, apple oatmeal pancakes. Side dish, example, mixed vegetables or soup. Desserts, fruit. Dinners, 3 categories / items. Starters, soup, salad. Main course, serving of protein and vegetable. And carbohydrate. Dessert, fruit / berries. Food pyramid. Typical starter grocery list. Lentil curry. Sauteed onions and mustard. I think that's when I was writing down meal plan. I think one day I did sauteed onions and mustard and vegan chili. Pear slices and a slice of whole wheat bread. That's like from being a teenager. That's so long ago. My handwriting was so neat. Now it's chicken scratchy, but wow. That's so much better. Summer celery soup. Say that 5 times fast. Summer celery soup, 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 summer celery soup. I did not expect that to go that well. I don't see the recipe. Where the fuck do you be? Where? Where? This loaf's paper. The dyslexia stripes. Dyslexia stripes. Strikes. Simonon. 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 Simonum. I can't even read how I fucked that up. That's weird. Simonum. Okay. It's really not over here or over there. That's so rude. Oh. Okay, well, I guess we're trying new one and we're hoping for the best. Simonum sounds insidious. A bit, yeah. Oh my god, Chauncey, chill. 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 Too far. I gotta pull up a recipe on here. No, yeah, I hate the screen cover on here. Um, is that so, Chauncey? Yeah. Yeah, Shay. Yeah. Oh, you know what? This might be the recipe. Let me see the ingredients. No, it's not. Really? That's a lot to share, son. I found it. I found it. I found it. Let me get a pen and paper and write it down.
I can't be sneaky or stealthy at all with all these belts. Okay. 2 cup flour. 2 cup sugar. That's a lot of sugar. 3/4 cup cocoa. Oh, that is not a word, Serena. I love when I write when I'm not looking and it just turns out gibberish. 1 teaspoon baking powder. Hi, Charlie. Hi, Chauncey. 3/4 teaspoon salt. 1 cup water or coffee. Oh, I forgot my coffee. We're just gonna brew a pot. Oh, but I want my cup. I'm so annoying to myself. Vegetable oil. Use coconut oil. 2 teaspoon vanilla extract. And then what temperature and how long? 350 and 20 minutes, I think. 350 degrees. Oh, 30 minutes. I was wrong. I stand corrected. Okay, I'm back. With hot sauce? With coffee? No. I don't think chocolate. I think it exists, but in my palate, I don't think chocolate and spicy would go well together. I don't know about that. Coffee cup. Monday. Okay, I gotta make a little pot of coffee anyway, because the Keurig won't make a full cup. Oh, read the soup. Celery soup with hot sauce. I don't think I ever made the celery soup. It's just, why? It's just a recipe that I wrote down that looked good. Chauncey's gonna interrupt me for a while. I don't know why he does this. He does it when I'm on the phone too. He somehow knows that there is like another presence that I'm interacting with versus just me talking to myself. And apparently Ringo is gonna whine along with him. But Chauncey's gonna interrupt me quite periodically here. I feel like salsa, like you mentioned last night, would probably be good in celery soup. I don't know what that would taste like though. Obviously celery, but consistency would be what matters the most. Through a quick pot. Chauncey, it's not morning.
very confused. We're gonna make some extra though, so we have a super easy morning. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh.
Chauncey, calm down. You're like running laps around here. Arr. 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 Tell the world. Now you don't want to? Okay. Mr. Chauncey. Mr. Chauncey. Ridiculous. Ridiculous he is, but we love him. This one's tablespoon. 1, 2, 3, and generous 4. Leia, is that you making sounds? Who's making sounds? I cannot pinpoint the cat directions. Who's sad? Who's sad? Boys. See. You're fine. What? 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 Really a fun time watching the coffee brew, huh? Charlie's gonna help. She's gonna be our helper tonight. Charlie Bear. You're very cute, my man. You're very cute, my man. I think that's what they are. Santa Claus is telling Chong he's gonna be on the naughty list. Pipe down. You're triggering Ringo. You're triggering the go-go pants. Oh. Chauncey, why are you feeling all big for your britches? Well, now you're gonna choke on life. Congratulations. Congratulations. Oh, we'll use the rest of the good Valina for doc stuff. You gotta get sugar. Sugar, sugar. Chauncey, calm your panties. Good God, child. Calm your pants down. Oh, the sun's already open. Didn't I grab 2 of them? Oh, I did, but I dropped it. And salt, and I have vegetable oil. I guess we could use vegetable oil. If that the recipe calls for, but still. A watched coffee never brews. Thankfully, this one will brew. We need that kind of positivity in our lives. Very much so. Very much so. Oh, I like my ears. We're gonna do back and forth. Yeah, like that. Exactly like that. Recipe go where? Oh, and then it's gonna be warm with the oven on. I'm gonna preheat it right now. Give me the heat. Give me the warm. Tree fitty. About tree fitty. Welcome, get some. Well, thank you. Be starting to get festive. I was so excited for festivities tonight and decorating for Tank that I absolutely forgot to give the boys their meds on time. I just had to give Zeke and Mr. Voya their little meds. Terrible mom. Terrible mom. Salka, oh god, she's about to help. Okay, let's go. I don't think we've baked yet with Salka. This is gonna be interesting. What are you doing, Mama Bear? You do not know, and that concerns me. Johnsy, go fetch me a coffee. Find me a sheep. Or draw me a sheep. Either. You've never seen me bake before? I would say we probably do baking streams at least like quarterly. Usually closer to the holidays. I was like baking on Valentine's Day and around Christmas time. We're gonna bake a lot this week. We're gonna do brownies tonight, and then tomorrow we're gonna do sugar cookies and gingerbread cookies. Oh, these are the gingerbread guys that I have to bake. But isn't this a cute little juxtaposition? Slaka, oh my god. Like, depending on how good or bad I decorate them, there's like two normal dudes, which they might be broken. We'll see. Slavka knocked it off the counter, so we're blaming the flute. It wasn't me. But they're little gingerbread ninjas. We can have like their sweet little selves and their alter egos. I'm excited for that one. Yeah. We're gonna make some brownies tonight. Gingerbread men, because these are not pre-baked, but these are tomorrow. And then I think on Christmas Eve we'll do pierogis, and then on Christmas Day we'll do kolaczkis. Got it all planned out. Slavka, get out of the flour. Oh my god. Is it all over your face? Oh my god. My child. Thankfully we're not using the stove, just the oven is on. It doesn't get super hot, it just gets a little warm on top. It's when the stove is on is we gotta worry. Oh god, Slavka. And those dog owners that teach their pups to fetch beers out of the fridge, teaching the zoo to make and retrieve coffee would top that. Oh my god, yeah. That takes some dexterity. Some amazingness. I guess I could like pre-make coffee and put it into containers in the fridge and like all of that. But my dogs aren't motivated enough to like want to do things for me. They would just take things that they want of their own. The gingerbread ninjas, yes. Pierogis, yes, 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 indeed. I got some sauerkraut today, and I got potatoes and onions today. I love pierogis. Did I do pierogis over the summer? It was at some point earlier this year. I know last year I did them on Valentine's Day and for Christmas time. I don't remember when else I did them earlier this year, but I think I did do them again earlier this year. Or previously earlier this year. What is time perception anyway? Coffee. Coffee? I didn't do Christmas in July this year. When did I make pierogis this year? I can't remember. at some point. I remember the stream. I know it was fun. I just don't remember what I was wearing or what time of year it was. Like what I'm wearing will like roughly tell me what type of year, what time of year it is. It's like costumey. I don't think I did Christmas in July this year though. I've done so many different things over the years consecutively that it all blends together. Like if I've done something for like 7 years straight and then skip it for a year, I can't remember if I didn't do it last year or the year before. It was Christmas in July. Dang, good memory. Good memory and good call. Chauncey, what? He gets so hyped with clothes on. Like he turns into a baby puppy again. Little tail wag, you're a naughty little boy. Are you a bad little boy? Are you a bad little boy? Are you a bad little boy? Yes, you are. So funny. Are you so silly? Are you so silly? I need 2 cups of sugar. Some sugar. I don't even know if there's 2 cups of sugar in here. Oh, what is your beef, broccoli? What is your beef? What? Needs to be refilled. That's like a lot of sugar. I don't remember it being that much sugar, but it's the same recipe. I don't know. There's 1 cup. There's like a portion of a cup. We gotta refill the sugar bin. More sugar. Oh, cowbell. Chauncey sounds like a cow with his collar. He sounds funny. Little doggy Santa. Those are cute. Dog. Dog. Chauncey, you're a cute little doggy Santa too. Oh, that's a lot of sugar. Shit. Oops. Whoops. Hulk smash. Oh, that's a chunky. Don't be a chunky. Otherwise, you don't measure out even. Okay. 1 cup, 2 cup. Next ingredient. What's up? Cocoa. I had to buy cocoa today too. I thought I had cocoa. I'm surprised. That was very functional. Gravity 1. Gravity 1 big time. Jingle dog. How do you open? I was joking about being the Hulk. Don't be lemon, lemon, difficult, difficult. 3/4 cup cocoa. Cocoa. Coca-Cola. 1, 2, 3. Gravity sure does work. Unfortunately, / fortunately. Baking powder. Baking powder. How much? 1 teaspoon. One teaspoon. That's a half teaspoon. So 2 of those. 1, 2. Skiddly, diddly, 2. Ears. I forgot I had these and they were really fun to find. I think when I got them last year, I thought they were really ugly, and this year I think they're the most fun thing ever. So that's growth. I appreciate that. 3/4 teaspoon salt. Salt. There's a half. And then a half of a half. I want to over salt the brownies. Are you the only one that wants to put your hands towards the oven and feel the warmth? No, I was literally just considering doing that. It's not like leaking out hot yet. But if I break up the preheat cycle, oh, that feels so nice. So nice. Warm my buns. It's radiating upon me. And rotate and rotate. I'm a damn rotisserie chicken. That's the rest of dry ingredients. We're gonna mix those up. I think. Then we just need oil and Valena and coffee. Because what is the secret to good brownies is the liquid is coffee. Makes them more rich. Like not necessarily like a fudgy rich. Chauncey, you're interrupting me. But it gives it like a more, it complements the bitterness without making it more bitter. If that makes any kind of sense. It gives it like a more deep chocolate flavor. But not overpoweringly chocolatey like a Hershey's. You've never had pierogies? What? I mean, honestly, like what is the typical store brand? I think Kasha's. They're not bad. Especially if you cook them right, like you boil them first and then fry them with onions. They're not terrible. Like they're a pretty close second as far as frozen goes to homemade. But homemade pierogies are supreme. I wish I knew how my godmother used to ship them to her sister in Arizona with like dry ice and stuff. I'll totally send you some. Empanadas are very good. They're delicious. They're cute little half a hot pockets. They're adorable. Homemade anything is always better. You're very right with that. I'm just floofing this out all over the place. I should probably be using a whisk. Or maybe that would be worse. I don't know. We'll find out. Can't package love. That is true. Or like the little imperfections that are like extra good. Like I like the extra doughy pieces, so I tend to fold them kind of thick. And that when you buy them frozen, they're just pinched. They're not folded over with like the thick dough end. Or at least I've never seen them frozen that way. My grandpa would forget that I know how to make pierogies and just buy them frozen. That's a fucking mess. It is true though, you can't package love. It's like a little sandbox. Brownies. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. This recipe is like super easy too. We'll finish by the time the oven is done preheating, but or at least approximately close to. Half cup of Earl. My name is Earl. Oh, well, close to. We only have one more ingredient after this. Ringo, we're gonna get Dens in a minute, buddy. You're gonna pop brownies in the oven. They're gonna go for 30 minutes, so we'll say goodnight while they're baking. Fussy Wussy was fuzzy and was wussy. Hey, Crabman. Hey, Earl. I love that show. It was amazing when it was on TV. It was amazing to rewatch. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Oh, I need coffee. Oh, jeez. Wow. Good job, brain cells. There is 2 more ingredients. At least I was remembering from somewhere. Christ. Yeah, this is my new version of the witness protection program. Not Crabman anymore. I'm Serena. We can turn off the coffee maker. Turn it off. Not my coffee cup. This one. Then, Valena. About 2 teaspoons of vanilla. This is my good vanilla. This is my cheap vanilla. I didn't realize I had good vanilla, so we're gonna use that up. Big love for that show. I was wanting to watch the entire series from watch to end. Where did I just rewatch it? Like within the last couple of months. I think on Hulu. I can't open this. There we go. There's only, I think there's only like 3 seasons of it. There should be a lot more, and I thought there was a lot more from what I remember. But there really isn't. It's not that time consuming to go through. Highly recommend. 1, 2. 1, 2. Might be able to make it all with expensive vanilla, and there is a tiny bit of vanilla left. Damn it! I wanted to get rid of the container. I don't trust the science. I knew it. As terrible as it was for some, kind of wish for another pandemic. Let you catch up on a lot of Netflix. Oh my god! So, I have a fun story in relation to that from today. Today's been an interesting day. My my therapist like kindly fired me. Um, like uh for periods of time I would be good about going weekly, but then like life stuff would happen, so kittens, sick, etc. I would go like a month or two without visiting. Um, and she expressed like some frustration earlier this year with it, but I thought we talked about it like in terms of like I'm not being lazy, and it's very important for me like in case there is a crisis to like already have someone on hand to not be scrambling for that. I think that's the number one important thing in mental health to like remember and think about is that you need the emergency plan in place before the emergency happens. Um, and I got a message from her today that was like, I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing well. I'm going to send you a list of recommendations for other therapists and blah, 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 etc. And it had been like 2 months since I had seen her last. I kept thinking while I was driving, like, oh, I need to schedule. And then I'd forget about it as soon as I get home because there's stuff to do. So I got like softcore fired, which understandably so. Like, you want to have consistent clients and being consistent with therapy is important. But I saw a new one today that was on her referral list because I had that terrible night terror the other night. And I was like, oh shit, I need the emergency plan in place. It's not good. It's not good. And one of her questions towards the end of our session, like just a getting to know you kind of thing, was how did you do during the pandemic? Which I think is number one, so amazing that she asked that. Like, that's not even something that if I met someone right now and planned to like fall in love with them or even like just be best friends with them, I would not think once to ask them how they did during the pandemic. Like, that's a pretty good mental health check-in, I think. So we talked about that, and I expressed my regret for having my amount of privilege through it. Like, nothing in life changed, and I was able to be more of a homebody, and the world was quieter. Like, yes, it was a terrible time for many, but I did okay with it, and that's very privileged of me. But it's funny that you mentioned that because the world really did slow down then, and you did get to like enjoy little things that it would be nice to have the time to stop and enjoy. Slavka, that's chocolate. It's poison. It's chocolate. It's poison. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not that I wish for anything bad to happen in the world, obviously, but I would like the world to have a reason to slow down again without negative consequences. That's chocolate. It's chocolate. It's not for Bebas. It's not for Bebas. Yeah, I love the pets. But you do have Mr. Turtle. It all makes sense now. I mean, we had MB when I was a kid. Little Myrtle Beach. That was my grandma's turtle. Don't do it. You aren't giving me study money, so. Yeah, kind of. I think that's what it was. But, like, my insurance covered everything. But obviously, if I'm not visiting, then, like, insurance isn't paying. So I get it. The world is rough. You want consistent clients. Like, you want to be able to have a predictable schedule, not someone just popped up and, hey, I need therapy. But I did discuss that with her today, too, of, like, number one, it's important for me to have this as a resource. Number two, I would like to be consistent with it, but I cannot always be. Thankfully, she was understanding of that. Private practice is kind of tough like that, though. It's not private practice. I used to do, well, maybe it is. I don't really know how it works. I used to do BetterHelp, but that was rather expensive. And I found something called Grow Therapy, which is way more like streamlined and easier to use. And accepts all of your insurance and has pretty qualified people, in my experience. I like it. I would recommend that one over BetterHelp anytime. Because BetterHelp was expensive. Like, even with insurance. It was ridiculous. It was really weird going to the park. It's so full of people. Wait, when did we go to a park? When did we go to a park? Do we just teleport? I think this is all mixed pretty good. I don't like leaving chunks in it. I think it looks alright though. We just gotta grease the pan. Oh, for the panini. I went too far out of circle. Oopsies. That is true, and no one was wearing masks. I think it because it was outside, and granted, I don't think I was wearing a mask either, but it was a little bit different. No, Miss Slavka, we can't do that. We can't do that. That was 2022, I think. So that would have been in the fall, and I think the mask restriction was lifted in like the spring maybe of that year, not maybe the end of 2021. I don't remember exactly. So I think everyone just like finally felt comfortable enough, and that's kind of like a more like, I'm a blue state, but that's more of like a Richie Rich red area, so I don't blame them for not wearing masks. I don't think I wore a mask because I assumed it would be empty and outside, and there was way more people. Way more people than predicted. Wait, are you referring to a vlog or a different time that I went to the dog park? So now I'm confused. Or when I went to Target for dog food, but I didn't bring the dogs. So the only thing I think it's useful to use like half a paper towel for is spraying oil. Stop, get out of the sink. You're so naughty. Get out of the sink. Get out of the sink. It's not for bee-bugs. Oh my goodness. It wasn't during COVID. You're off on your time frame. That's okay. Honestly, like this time of year when there's so much going around, I and others should be wearing a mask in public. I don't mind wearing one at all. I'm just very good at forgetting about them. Unfortunately, I wish I was a bit more mindful about it, but I'm not ashamed or embarrassed to wear one, and I think more people should. Because there's all tiny little bugs going around everywhere. The start of school, like this time of year is brutal. It gets cold out. There's start of school. That's a whole bunch of germs. There's Thanksgiving, family visits, there's a bunch of germs. Christmas, winter break, everyone gets passed around germs between like visiting friends and family and etc. Like it's a brutal time of year. That's one thing that my dad and I super agree on is like Japan is way ahead of its time for wearing masks either fashionably or health wise regularly. And that's something that I'm not going to repeat what I was just thinking because it's controversial. But I do applaud the efforts of others. Wait, what just happened? He gifted a subscription to Patrick's. Thank you so much for the sub. I appreciate it. It was time. Thank you for the gifted. That's so cute. That's so sweet. Did you choose Botrix on purpose or did it just accidentally go to Botrix? Botrix is so privileged. Thank you for supporting the holidays. Thank you for supporting the Stream Dreams project. Thank you for being the wonderful human that you are. Thank you all so much. I would offer you a brownie, but they're not in the pan or the oven yet. Thank you. I appreciate your support very, very much. Now we gotta scoop some brownies. I'm lost without my alerts, but thankfully little messages, words of them come through now. And I don't just miss things. I look like an ignoramus. Thank you again, oh so mucho. You hope the weekend is being kind to you so far. And then Santa brings you everything you're asking for. Stupid batter. I'm asking for this batter to go in the pan. There we go. Bingo. We got dens in a minute, buddy. Mom's making brownies. Little whiny puppy. I'm bummed, but I'm excited for Ringo to start school in February. I'm bummed that it's not sooner, but I'm excited for him to go to school. Figure it all out. He's gonna do so good. He's gonna be top of his class, big giant puppy. We're gonna look like the odd couple. Big giant dog and little tiny girl. Like, come here, boy. Look at them beautiful bitches. I just gotta bake for 30 minutes. And either I will post a picture in Discord after I plate them or after they're finished baking, depending on my level of laziness tonight. I don't know how snark Mimi I will be. You never know. You don't know until you know. 30 minutes. Yes? Oh god, now where did I put the recipe? I can't lose it again already. 30 minutes. It's gonna go locally. I'll expect a picture of one with a big bite mark taken out of it. I'll have to tell the girls at Docs. These are for Docs. So I go in on Tuesday with Marbles. She needs her little butt squeezed, which I'm sure we want to see me do with chocolate on my fingers and everywhere else. Yeah, that was a questionable moment in time. Not gonna lie. But you learn. You live and you learn, and you do what you do. Walk-a-do. And I'm gonna bring in that and the sugar cookies, to Docs, on Tuesday as a thank you for everything that he and they do. They're not for me. The pierogies and kolachkis, however, are mostly for me. Kolachkis I need to mail out, so we gotta make like double of them. And then my dad's gonna want some of the potato pierogies. He always does. If I say I'm making them, he says, don't make any for me. But if I've made them and I offer him some, he says, I'll take some of those. So like a man thing or just a dad thing? Now you won't be able to eat brownies ever again. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ruin that for everyone. Didn't mean to, no pun intended, crap on everyone's brownies. It just be happening sometimes. For kolachkis, we're gonna do, what did I got? Blueberry and raspberry. I thought that would be a good mix of like a little bit of seeds, crunch, but then like the smooth of the blueberry. I was thinking blackberry and raspberry, but I thought that would be too seedy. Like maybe people want a choice. Maybe I want a choice sometimes. You never know. Banana. Oh my god, I slept on. They're under my feet. Oh, that's a pan. Okay, I'm ready for bed. I'm running into things. I have no balance anymore. The yawning is coming in more. Got a taste test when you're making stuff. I know that these are good though. I've made them a million times. It's the same recipe. I know they're good. Watch, they're gonna turn out horrible now. Maybe. I won't forget to put this away later. Can you clip? Oh, this is terrible marketing. There we go. Now it's good marketing. I think it's a father TV thing. Someone offers to bake you something, you say yes, assuming they're a good cook. I mean, like, yeah, if they're already making it, like, it's not too much trouble. Someone's like, oh, I'm off today. Do you want me to bake you a cake? It's like, no, enjoy your day off. But you're already making something. Have more of it. Have more. I think my dad just doesn't want to say, like, yes, I want that. But if it's already made, he can use the excuse of, like, he doesn't want it to go to waste. So, if it makes him happy. And it will. It would make them happier if I did potato, cheese, and bacon, but I'm only gonna use it for pierogies, and then what? I'm gonna have it left over in my house, and then I give it to my dad, and like it's just gonna go bad before he uses it. Like, there's no point. There's no point in any of it. Clean up, everybody, do your share. Now I have dishes to do tonight. I have double dishes too. I have to do dishes tonight and tomorrow. I was gonna just do dishes tonight after baking. Now there's double dishes. Who's on dish duty? Serena pens. They almost always clip onto things 30% of the time. That's where we do like that, right? Potato, cheese, and bacon sounds great. That is like I think the typical way that like Americans are exposed to pierogies is either like the sauerkraut ones or like potato and cheese or potato and cheese and bacon. But then there's also like meat ones, and then I'd never been exposed to these from my Polish family. But my high school boyfriend and his Polish family did fruit pierogies, so maybe it's a regional difference kind of thing. Don't like things. But I don't think I'm gonna do fruit pierogies this year. I liked the first couple that I made last year, and they did turn out really, really good. But while the thickness and cooking style of them is very good, long term for like meal pierogies, like a potato, sauerkraut, whatever meat. The dessert ones just like got condensated and like weird tasting over time. I don't know how to describe it. It would have been good probably if I would have refried them every time, but I don't want to use the effort for that. I guess that's why people buy air fryers. I don't know. Sauerkraut is an acquired taste for some. It is. I used to hate it when I was a kid. I never liked sauerkraut pierogies, and now I crave them. It's very good for you. I think it has probiotics in it, but it's in general, it's just pickled cabbage. It's very good for you. Or it's just like pickled cabbage. It's very good for you. Jingle Serena, jingle Serena, jingle Serena. Okay, we're gonna let that finish baking. Have you just been waiting for me this whole time, son? Baby son. We're gonna have to put a extension cord over here. Oh. I didn't know they had probiotics in it. I just assumed it was good because it's fermented, but does anything fermented have probiotics in? Like, what about tofu or like soy sauce? Or does it matter with the fermentation process? Kimchi is so good. I have it with hummus and crackers every afternoon, and I look forward to it as a snack. Pen close up. Super marketing skills. Turn on the tree light a little bit before bed and observe the Tankmas tree and say goodnight, skis. I need to fix the layers that it doesn't blend quite well. I need to thin it into all of that bit and like actually style it. I have bedhead tonight. I have bedhead like every day, but I'm acknowledging it tonight. A little bit of Christmas music. Some Christmas music. Oh, what did I just press? Oh shit. Okay. Depends on how processed it is. Soy sauce has too much done to it for any tummy value. Plus, it's mostly salt. Oh, that makes sense. I wonder about tofu though. I think tofu is firm. It might not be though. I'm trying to remember. I think I've seen how it's made on how tofu is made. What am I sitting on? Cords. It was cold under my butt and that concerned me. I don't know why anything under my butt wouldn't concern me, but it extra concerned me because it was cold. Like maybe it was sharp metal or something. There's cocoa powder on my phone. Oops. Charge. 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 That's very interesting. But probiotics are good bacteria, and bacteria grows when things sit out. Can I tell you guys something really gross? It's okay if I can't, but I'd like to ask everyone's consent first. It's something I've never seen before in my life. It wasn't so much as gross as interesting, but like the concept is gross. The visual is interesting. I don't have an actual visual though. I threw it away. Oh my god. Humbled. Humbled. Plug it in, plug it in. Oh, someone did something while I wasn't in here. In a good way. Who did what? Who did what? The song reminds me of like Final Fantasy music. Has that like whimsical but alone vibe. It's weird. It's an interesting one. Mayhaps we'll set up your fountain tomorrow or before bed if I feel so motivated. Just gotta give time for ear covering. Thank you for yelling for me. I can't yell because Voya is sensitive. Alright, everyone cover their ears in 3, 2, 1. I left like 3 bites for whatever reason of my vegan yogurt. I think it was almond milk yogurt. I should have looked to make sure, but I think the container was blue and silk, which would make it almond milk. Never before have I experienced this. One, I usually eat them, like everything before it's going to go bad, but this one I just left a few bites for whenever I want it, because I didn't buy more the last time I went shopping, and I just left it, and it got forgotten about, and it went bad. I've only seen, like, green or dark colored mold before. It turned pink. Like, bubblegum pink. It smelled bad. It was bad. It was vanilla flavored. It was white. It went bad and turned pink. I don't know what ingredient in there made that happen, but it turned pink. Pink is bacteria for sure. Well, I sure as shit didn't eat it. I threw it away right away. I mean, I smelled it because I was curious, and who's not, honestly? But I've never seen anything turn pink before. It was like Pepto-fucking-Bismol. Cursed Pepto-Bismol. It was a situation. So it's in the garbage, and then I bought more today. That's not pink. I don't know, I haven't opened it yet. Hopefully it's not pink. Seen that happen with sour cream that you forgot in the fridge. What? I don't keep sour cream in my fridge. I don't think we would buy it much, like a big container when I was younger. We just had it for like taco nights. I've never seen anything else turn pink before though. Like green, other odd dark colors, yes. Bright bubblegum pink? No. Okay, everyone can uncover their ears now. It's over. It's done with. It was left over from Mexican food. Oh, that's uncomfortable. Did you ever order from there again? Or eat there again? Like, not saying it was bad when it got to you, but I feel like most things in restaurants are not meant to last, like, more than a week at most. Whereas when you buy it at the grocery store, you probably have about 2 weeks out of it, depending on what it is. Real life, The Last of Us was about to start right there. Oh, I wish I understood the lore. I bet that's a great reference, and I don't get it at all. I have not seen or played any of The Last of Us. I think they made it into a show, and I think it's a game. I'm pretty sure. Little plastic tub of sour cream. Oh, like a little dipping container. Yeah, I think they refill them like on a certain day or period, days of the week. And then it's just used in order. Oh my god. My voice or I are gonna tap out first, and I don't know which. They're in competition right now. The show is based off of the game, and the show is also really good. See, but I think I read something on Twitter that the second season, they changed one of the characters, or someone wasn't happy with not someone, but many someones weren't happy with one of the characters. There was some kind of controversy with it. Thanks to your eating kimchi and whatnot, you've eaten from some shady places and never gotten food poisoning. Damn, that's impressive. I've gotten food poisoning many times. I think that's, like, partially my fault, though. Like, I'll leave stuff out, and, like, as long as it smells fine and looks fine, I'll eat it. That doesn't mean it should be eaten, but I've definitely given myself food poisoning a few times. I don't like wasting food. So if it looks okay and it smells okay, then it tastes okay, and I'll eat it, but it's probably not okay. Gas station sushi with extra flavor. It's one road I haven't gone down yet, probably only because gas station sushi is not sold in, like, meatless forms, which is disturbing on other levels, but it is what it is. There's a sandwich shop that made the best hoagies, consistently at a D rating. Is it like a hole-in-the-wall mom and pop shop, like, not super fancy place, though? I feel like those places get false judgment. False judgment. My favorite Mexican food place gave me food poisoning once. That was not cool. I went back very carefully, like 2 months later, and I gave it one more try, and it was fine. And it's been fine since, so they just had an off day. Gas station bathroom egg salad, like from Futurama. Oh, I don't even like egg salad. I like potato salad, especially the vinegary kind, not really like the creamy kind. German potato salad is fabulous. But egg salad it's already gross, and that's just too much. It's too much. The micro invaders cleaned up his body. Poor Bender. There's a rundown place, calling a mom and pop shop is too charming for it, but they made good food. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. There's another Mexican food place that's like that around here, where they're like the size of this tiny little like newspaper stand almost. It's literally a store, but I think it was like split in half at some point in renovations with the other one, or it's extremely small. I don't even know how they fit a kitchen back there. I don't know how it happens. It's not somewhere you want to sit down to eat in. Like, you don't see bugs crawling around, but it just doesn't look good. You don't want to use the bathroom there. Like, you don't want to touch the counters, but their food is so good. They have the best green sauce. The best. The best. The best. I'm not brave enough for red sauce. The best Mexican food place you like is No Joke Part Tire Shop. Hey, you know, you get a snack, you go back to work. That's some smart thinking. They did good on that one. A round of applause. That's hilarious. Are you ready for night time? Oh, he's watching Bird TV. I thought he was fussing at me, but he's watching his birdie TV. The squirrels are out, huh, buddy? I wonder how easily they can destroy that monitor with their claws. Like, they just, like, whap whap, like they don't scratch on it, but... I wonder. Best barbecue I've had was Joe's in Kansas City. It's in a gas station. I can't speak on gas station sushi, but gas station food is kind of sometimes low-key good. I like gas station coffee. It's the perfect mix between, like, nostalgic restaurant coffee and good coffee, believe it or not, and instant coffee, which are my three favorite ways to consume coffee. I love gas station coffee. They would really have to work. Oh, I'm jelly. I love barbecue. Barbecue is delicious. Barbecue is kind of hard to do, like, outside of meat replacements. Not eating meat. It's difficult. Put barbecue sauce in my mashed potatoes sometimes, or dip my fries into it. It's so good. It's delicious. I need to buy more barbecue sauce soon, I think. The Beyond stuff is pretty good, just about as unhealthy. Yeah, Beyond Impossibles are delicious. I mean, it's been so long since I've eaten meat, but I don't really taste a flavor difference between the two. Certainly not, like, consistency-wise. which I find kind of disturbing and interesting. But I also recently learned, and I don't know how I've never read this before, maybe it's new information, but I highly doubt it because there's herbivorous animals. Um, Plant protein is harder for your body to break down than meat protein, like animal meat protein. I don't exactly know the science of it or really how it works, but I'm going to be mindful of what my protein intake is going forward, and I'm not out here munching Beyond Burgers. Unfortunately, I would love to be smashing them in my face. I miss burgers so much. You guys do not understand. My dad makes the best burgers in the world, and he got me hooked on burgers at a young age. And now I fucking love burgers, and I miss them so much. Every once in a while I have one, and then I regret it, but it's so good. So good. However, I did recently learn that plant protein is harder for your body to process and digest. So instead of like vegan chicken nuggets, I should probably be having tofu. Because tofu smushes up more than chicken nuggets, and it's less processed than chicken nuggets. Even with just egg, too. Never want to go all in on one thing. That is very true. I try to have like a very varied diet. And that happens naturally when you're adding all your different food groups, right? Like, eat like a rainbow, make sure you have one of each little thing, at least a few bites of something. Get everything together that you need that's good and healthy. But I just make sure there's protein on my plate. I don't pay attention to what it is. It just has to be XYZ amount of protein. And I need to start being more mindful about that. I wonder if that'll make a difference. I don't want to eat meat again, though. I know there's, like, I'm sure it's happened to many regular people, but I know there's celebrities I've read about, like Miley Cyrus, for instance, was vegetarian or vegan for a long time, and for health reasons is really all the world discloses, is she had to go back to eating meat. And I really don't want to go back to eating meat. I'd like to be able to figure this out. Like, if I have to, then I would have to consider how to figure that out. But I don't want to. It's just, I don't crave it. I think it would be irritating to eat. The only thing I crave is chicken Kiev. But that kind of processed chicken tastes literally the same as like Beyond Nuggets. It's just processed, not chicken. This guy only eats cheese, spinach, chicken, spinach, and cheese. But I mean, is that working for him? Or is that just like a pickiness thing? Iron deficiency is all I've heard for having to switch. That's something I'm mindful of too. I take all my vitamins, I take my iron, I take my potassium, because I tend to run low on potassium, and I don't know why, but I do. And I guess that's like important, or whatever. I take my B12. I'm now taking creatine, because that's something that's in meat that you don't get being a vegan. My dad ushered me into that. And then all my other vitamins, they're like you guys have seen me fill my vitamins before. There's 1,000 of them. Chicken Kiev and burgers, the diet of champions. I mean, yeah. I grew up spoiled. Spoiled! That's what I would always ask for my birthday dinner, is chicken Kiev. It's like the frozen ones. They're so cheap and so bad, but they're filled with so much butter and just, oh my god. They're so bad for you. Creatine is a big one for bodybuilders and athletes. I think that's how he found out about it or thought to suggest it. He does work out every day. He used to be an amateur bodybuilder, and he still has his little routine that he goes through with his crappy little shoulders. Poor dude. But I have read that too. That it like gives you not like a burst of energy, but I don't know, it hydrates your muscles or something. I don't know exactly what it does. It's not gonna hurt me. I asked my doctor about it. Because my creatinine actually runs low, which isn't a problem and doesn't need to be supplemented. It's only a problem if it runs high. Shoulder thing is real. He does all alone in the basement where no one can hear him. His bench presses, his squats, his over the shoulders, everything. Like, you can't even bend your arms straight. It's stuck like this. Him and Doc have the same problem, except Doc is getting his fix so he can straighten it out, but oh my goodness. They have the same problem, but from different causes. Doc's is from, like, working on cars and just being, like, moving around all of his life and, like, getting old, because he's the same age as my dad. He's 70. But then my dad, it was his left shoulder, I think. He had 3 of the 4 rotator cuffs, or tendons, or whatever it is, torn. Whatever 4 parts attached, 3 of them were torn, and they had to be put back, and now over time, his arm is, like, stuck bent. He can't fully straighten it out. But he refuses to address it. He just gets through it. He's so funny. He's such a man sometimes. He complains about that, and, like, that's okay. Like, not in a bad way. He speaks on it being such a struggle and an agitation and frustration. And then I talked to him about taking the kitties to the vet next month if need be. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's fine. I can lift it. No problem. Up. Like, 2 weeks ago, you were just crying poor to me about this. Like, come on, man. Let me know what level of worry that I need to worry, because otherwise I worry. Oh my god. I shouldn't say complaining, I should say venting too. Even like what I mentioned my buddy earlier, like all he's doing is like venting and like not saying sorry, but in more words of like everything is... Oh no, he did say sorry. It starts with I'm sorry. Spoke to a few different people. And I will be getting paid for my time of leave, and then there's more ... so it's some words. It's more just venting. Like, you just gotta let things out. Don't let yourself be emotionally constipated. Your body has to poop. Your emotions have to pour out as well. Don't be emotionally constipated. I think my playlist ended. Beautiful, relaxing Christmas music. Alright, we'll vibe out to that one. Oh, it's like a very appealing visual. It's sucking me in. No. Okay, well, I mean, you expressed yourself, so I'm proud of you. Haha, gotcha! Look, isn't that like, it's so dreamy? It's AI, I think. I don't know what else it would be. So dreamy and relaxing. I want to figure out how to put snowflakes like that on my screen. I just need to find a GIF PNG, which is like rather difficult to do. Oh, this is Sleepy Night Night music. You guys are welcome to complain. It's not complaining, it's venting. I'm using poor terminology tonight. You guys know how good I am with words. But like actually though. To complain about venting, typical man. It's the only time we don't want to hear you vent is when you're complaining about venting. It's the only time we don't want to hear it. The only time. You want to talk about your dog when you were 6. You want to talk about the mean person who accidentally swiped your lunch at work. You want to talk about the girl who stepped on your toe with a high heel at the mall today. You want to talk about how, vent about how the car is doing XYZ. Absolutely, go ahead, all of the things. But you're not allowed to vent about venting. It's the one rule. I wash my hands of this. That's all I've got for the night, folks. Abda. Good night. Kind of. This is very, very sleepy time music. It's getting me there. Giggity. Where is my boy? You ate all your snackies. I'm proud of you. Oh, you're sitting next to me, my little donut head. Are you accepting that? We're gonna snuggle tonight. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're gonna snuggle. You're a very good boy. He's making a face at me like, don't make me come up there. You broke her. I was born broken. Oh, what is that quote? I was born backwards. What is it from? Oh, it's from Skins. Sometimes I think I was born backwards. Come out of my mom the wrong way. Your words go past me backwards. The people I should love, I hate, and the people I hate, and then she passes out. I would assume it would mean I love. Poor Effie. So confusing. Putting your paws up, cracking open a beer. Job well done. That's okay. I would rather break than not profess to the world that the venting about venting is illegal. Everything else, let it out. Don't be emotionally constipated. No venting about venting. Just shut up and say it. like your dinner when you're like 5. Shut up and eat it. You're gonna vent. Shut up and say it. But tomorrow, because it's bedtime now. Thank you all for a wonderful night. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your chats. Thank you for your support. And thank you for being your wonderful selves. Thank you for your time. I forgot I had my pen here. More than anything. And burp. Please know that your time is very valuable. Whether it is for 2 seconds, 2 minutes, 2 hours, if I don't see you again for 2 years. When our times collide, it is magical, beautiful, and amazing. Time is this magically finite source, and I am honored when you all take the time to be here. It's a pretty high honor. I salute you, Club Cult. If you guys want to keep up with me offline, hop into... my keyboard is so crooked right now. Let's fix that there. The Disky Boo! Otherwise, we got the fun stuff. Oh, Botrix already had me on that, but too late. The socials, some more fun stuff. The sketch for roughly-ish Voya pending. And I will see you Bebs next. And thank you all for being a part of the holidays. Oh, I need to upcount us. Thank you again so much. Charlie's getting in on that. Thank you all for being part of the Stream the Dreams project. So much stuff. I stopped adding things to my screen and I started adding them to my chat, and it's out of control. It's funny. Like I know what I'm doing, but I can't stop. I can't stop. If you have not yet, do not forget to vote for your favorite cosplayer in the 2026 AVN Awards. You can vote for 5 times a day free, and then no more after that, not even for any amount of dollars in the world. That's all there is to it. And a friendly reminder that I got some deals and steals up on Twitter for Voya's Big Vet Beals. That was all super fun. Let's never do that again. Never. Ever. 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 He's looking at me like, what? What'd I do? Voya, you are an investment. And I'm glad to be part owner in your company, but you have gone through so much in your life. Oh my god. Poor kid. You just need calm and chill. Gabapentin is good. Got like big old pupils. He's like, yes it is. Alright, BBs, do me one favor until I see you next, and that is, remember that you are wonderful, amazing, incredible, spectacular, all the good things in the world. Oh, so gorgeous. Take all those compliments, put them in your back pocket, your side pocket. I think there's actually no, there isn't. I thought there was pockets in here. The other row, there's pockets. Your back pocket, your side pocket, your cute little hoodie pocket, your adorable little shirt pocket, floating in suspended animation, wherever it needs to go until I see you next, you sweet bubbles. Angel investor in Voya LLC. Yeah. I don't know. I stopped counting at 20K. I don't even want to try to add it up at this point. Like, some FIV cats are just like that. Some are easy keepers and you never have like a single extra problem compared to like a regular cat in the slightest, and other times they have a bunch of issues that pop up, and Voya's had a bunch of issues that pop up, and it doesn't help that he came to me looking like Frankenstein, so it's not his fault. He's worth everything. He's worth every penny. I don't know what's so special about him that he is. I really wish I would have, like, he got neutered as soon as I brought him to emergency, so while he got stitched up, he got neutered as well. And I didn't know he was going to be so special, but I regret so much not freezing his sperm or not being able to. If there's any animal I would be insane about with that. And I still don't agree with it and don't think it's right when other people do it. And I don't know what's wrong with my brain that... Maybe I only think that because I know I can't do it. I don't know if I would... Actually, I don't know. It's expensive to do in general, for crying out loud. I'm acting like I have $1 million in my pocket to burn. It'd be so nice to have more of you. Like, he's the best boy there ever was. He made me scared this week, though. I never want to go through that again. It's been a week, which is crazy. I feel like it's been 3 weeks the last week. But we're stable. We're okay. We're happy. We're calm. And we're about to get some dinner. Oh, I'm late feeding the babies. Voya coin coming soon. Yeah, to replace the outdated pennies. Or the penny shortage. There we go. Honestly, with all the cryptos, it could take off. I'm managing an Instagram right now. That's enough. Talk to me in like 3 months when I have like that down into a habit. And then we'll launch Voya coin. V-coin. Voicoin. Voicoin would be cute. Now someone's gonna make it tonight and be a bajillionaire, and it's gonna have nothing to do with my cat. It's just the risk that I take spitballing in the world. Oh, the oven's beeping at me now. Okay, now it is time to run away and Mimi's, because I'm gonna burn the brownies. But thank you all again for a wonderful night. And Voicoin. V-coin. People probably buy it thinking it's something else. some virtual tokens, but no, it's a cat and not the kind of pussy you were looking for. Thank you all again for a wonderful night, and I appreciate you all oh so mucho. Get some good sleep tonight. Make good choices. Don't do anything I or Voya wouldn't do, or maybe even Gunther, but Gunther makes some interesting choices. Use your discretion with that. And I shall see you all for the next one. Good nighty night, babies. It's so weird not having a stop stream screen. But we vibing, we learning. Good night, Club Cult. Get some good sleeps. Oven, shut up. I'm